I just usually mute during loading.
I normally would as well, but it's funny to see a couple of candid conversations before things actually begin.
I see now. I see. Let's see. Okay. Uh. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
Alright, hopefully my connection remains stable. Just a word of warning, it is Australian internet, so if I stop speaking for an extended period of time, or just at some point come back and say, we disconnected, that's probably why.
I've heard about Australian internet. I've heard it's awful.
Normally, and I mean, normally it's not that bad. Normally, it's just sometimes it decides to, you know, just completely act up and just go like, nah, you don't get to have fun this time.
I see.
Yeah, it is more or less the reason I don't stream Apex specifically.
Now that I think of it,
yeah.
you don't really stream those like heavier games.
Nah, not particularly. Don't have the bitrate for it anyway.
Fair enough. It is also, it's not the heavier game out there. But it's definitely... I haven't streamed it either, just because it's not my thing I stream.
Fair enough. Alright then. Give it a couple of minutes, then we'll just get started.
Me just trying to host, and I'm like, huh.
Yeah.
But why are you doing this to me?
Isn't it normally you have to add the host button first, and then you can slap the host?
Yeah, like I have the host button on. It's for some reason, even when I search your channel, it's just like, who is that? Who is that?
Good question. Are you searching it with a 0 or are you searching it with an O?
A 0? Is it? Am I just blind?
It is a 0, but hey.
Oh, they for some reason accepted the O instead. Interesting.
Oh my, thanks for the host. Let's shout this person who hosted out. Yes. Oh, the last thing they were up to was just chatting. What were they chatting about?
I think it was motion design. I was doing a motion design stream.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I was doing a motion design stream, and then I was just screaming about America for like 30 minutes. Because I was coming back from a trip to see my family in America.
Wow.
And there were some things I forgot about America that I started realizing are now things I don't enjoy.
Fair.
So I was like, and I may have caused a huge realization in the Canadian community. So that was interesting. AKA the fact that Americans don't compost.
Huh?
Wait, what? Wait. Oh no?
Excuse
me?
What? No. No.
He goes.
Not like this. Not like this. Why?
I'm so sorry.
No.
I didn't think this is a realization you were suffering too.
What the hell? Why?
Oh no, did I just cause a realization in you on accident?
Yeah, probably. What have you done? What have you done? What do you mean they don't? Like, huh?
They don't.
So
Americans, like, I think only a couple of states do. Like, if you're in I think if you're in Northern California, they do compost. But I do know in Southern California and most of America, they don't compost. Here you go. There you go.
I'm deceased. We haven't even begun, and I'm deceased. Last time it was the fact that my interviewee still uses a bloody fax machine. That this time it's compost does not exist. Oh my god.
Yeah, because in Canada we have compost, so it's just kind of like, huh?
Yeah, likewise. So it's just, huh?
I have accidentally given you a woof. Oh yeah, and they another one. Okay, sorry. Sorry,
Go
this
for
is
it.
another one.
Go for it.
Okay, do you have
can't
the
kill what's
option
already
to like
dead.
tap on? So you know when you're like in the cash, like at the cashier, you have the option to like tap on the machine. America doesn't have that. Like I want to say a majority of America doesn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they don't have that. They just have the insert and the swipe, and then you have to put your pin in. But with tap, you don't really need to do that, do you?
No, you don't. Usually,
Exactly.
for Australia, it's purchases 100 and under. Usually, you can just get away with tapping.
Oh, 100 and under. That's actually okay. That makes sense.
It's
Actually,
to stop. It's to stop most forms of fraud. Usually.
fair enough. Fair enough. And the thing in America is that, especially if you're at restaurants, how they handle your purchases is you put your. They give you this like board, whatever board is it, like where your receipts are. You put your credit card in, and then they take it and then walk it back to the machine in America. So you're not able to check your card for a while, so there may be chances of switching out your card.
Yes.
But in Canada, they just bring the actual machine. Yeah.
Oh, for Australia, you just walk up to the machine.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
know most countries do the walk to the machine, which is still 10 times safer. 10 times safer. But yeah, that was. But yeah, me, like, when I went back to America, I died that week. I
Wow.
died for that 2 weeks because of those 3 things.
Hey. Alright then. Shall we get started proper then?
Okay, yeah?
Alright then, more or less, welcome to the show. Feel free to introduce yourself.
Okay. Hi, my name is Raina Illune, and I am a motion designer, singer, and I also do VTubing and rap.
Wait, that last part. Huh.
Yeah.
But by all
Oh,
means,
yeah, I don't
do
mention it that
elaborate,
much. Yeah, I do specifically Japanese rap, and yeah, so, and I've been doing rap for over 2 years now. It's not something I really mention, huh?
Huh. Yeah, that's one thing that I don't think I ever saw around, come to think of it. Because, yeah.
Okay, I think I've done 2 covers with rap in it. No, there's definitely more than that, actually. I've done quite a few, actually.
Oh my.
I just don't mention it. I don't mention it that much, because you usually mention the things you're more used to doing first, and then you slowly go downward.
Fair. Alright, mostly skills-based introduction so far, anyhow.
Yeah.
Because I've had people go over and just be like, oh, here's my ridiculously long lore of this and that, or I am variety streamer, I do this and that. Or,
The issue with mentioning that is that, like, especially considering my lore, it's considered like a past. Because how I made my lore was specifically to be so that way I can like move on into the future in the most normal way possible.
In that case, I might as well throw this question here then. Do you play into your lore very often then, or do you just throw it to the wayside after, well, having left it there?
I mean, there's some things in my lore that actually still kind of exist. But
Oh.
I guess I might as well quickly explain my lore.
Go for it.
basically, I used to be a regular human, and then I died in an accident all of a sudden, and was reincarnated into a butterfly. But my VTuber mama, also known as the Ghost Beaver, the Ghost Beaver, has granted me with another human body to essentially try out being a human again. It's not perfect though. It's not perfect though, because if I lose this butterfly, I'm just not gonna live. Or if you punch me in the right way, this happens.
Ah. Wow. I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just moved myself for a second. Okay, there we go.
Wow.
Put it back.
Yeah, put it back.
Yeah, so that's part of the thing that I do keep. So yeah, I don't. So yeah, there isn't too much to my lore that makes it where I need to follow up with like a personality or anything. It's still very much I'm still human, and I have certain skills that I try to show off a little more.
Hey. Fair enough then, because yeah, I've had some people come on and they're just like in character 100% of the time. I'm just like, damn, you actually managed to keep that up.
Yeah, I can't really do that, especially with how my streams are.
Fair enough. I've tuned in on a couple of your streams before, I think, but yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, if anyone who comes to my streams, they think it's like pretty normal, and then my chat's like, oh yeah, here's this redeem, have fun.
And
most of them are voice redeems.
Oh god. I see. What kind of voice redeems, might I ask?
Okay, so some of the more popular redeems include the Yandere redeem, the Tsundere redeem, and then recently was added was the Hime redeem.
Okay.
But the most popular, yes, yeah, because I used to be very formal as like a child, and
okay.
it was only recently where I started to be a little more casual. But I still remember how I speak when I was like very formal.
Oh boy.
So that's something. And then the most popular one is legitimately a redeem where I just say "nya" at the end of all my sentences.
Oh god. I see.
Yep.
No surprise
So
that Yandere is up there though. Good lord. Anytime someone does have a Yandere redeem on their channel, it is usually one of the most redeemed ones.
Yeah, it's that, and I think it's also because my Yandere eyes aren't that creepy.
Okay.
Yeah, they are. I don't have the strength eyes. Yeah.
Oh.
I just yes.
I see.
This is my pupil. Yes. It's not that creepy, like compared to the ones where you shrink the eyes. I find that a little too creepy in my opinion.
And I am the regular. Well, for myself, you just get like darkened expression and like a glowing monocle, and that's about it.
Because I was my own rigger, I did have a lot more freedom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have a few things. So there's obviously like angry. so there's obviously the angry one, and then we have the crying one. Because I was like, yes, we have to do those. Because you know, you gotta be sad to chat sometimes. I actually rarely do use it though.
Oh my.
I do have a question mark one as well for just being like eh. And then obviously I have the ghost, but we have the ghost one, which surprisingly chat doesn't actually redeem it that often.
Oh, fair.
Yeah. But yeah, I also have the hard eyes for other reasons. Let's see. Am I forgetting one before the next one? And then, so I have this thing on my channel where people, basically use my channel as education.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, actually, someone made me a profile on the VTuber wiki, and the category I got put into, which was education.
Huh? Education, that... How come? How come? Do elaborate, do elaborate.
I think it's because I do a lot of like motion design streams where I give advice, and then occasionally I'll teach people about things, about like cross-cultural stuff. Since I'm a dual citizenship in American and Canadian, and I'm also Cantonese.
Oh damn! All right.
Yeah. But yeah, so I have a teacher one.
Oh, that works really well.
Yeah, it works really well with my design, so that was a lot easier.
Alright, speaking of which, what did inspire your design?
Okay, so this one actually has a few things, actually.
Oh yeah?
So one of them has to be the fact that a while back, I had this issue where I had no Wi-Fi for a bit. For a long list of reasons. But I had no Wi-Fi for a bit. So what I did was in order to get Wi-Fi for a bit for things like business reasons and stuff like that, I went to a lot of cafes.
Oh.
And I mean a lot of cafes.
Oh god. Alright then.
Yes. Yeah, so I went to a lot of cafes. And one cafe I went to, they really helped me out a lot, and they were kind of support. And one thing I really found interesting was cafes are just more than just serving like coffee and everything. They're all about serving people and making people very happy and having a relaxing time. So that was kind of the biggest like reason why I chose specifically barista.
All right.
I never mentioned that I am technically a butterfly barista, but that is technically part of my identity. And that was kind of the first thing. And I think the second thing people do ask about is why it's specifically this color palette.
Oh yeah?
Because
Alright.
Yeah, because people have heard the butterfly stuff, but they don't consider this particular color palette for like a butterfly theme. But the thing is, I always had it like based off of references of the more modern style kind of like design of cafes. They always have that kind of dark style with the white, and like it's very modernized and simple. So that was a lot of my references. And actually specifically with the color turquoise, which is the color of my tie and everything, it's actually based off of New Mexico. Because New Mexico's main gemstone is actually turquoise.
Oh. Did not know that one.
Yeah. So yeah, you can get like authentic turquoise in New Mexico.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Oh yeah. And the last one is the chair.
Chair. Okay.
Yes, if you look at the side of my hair clip, there is a chair.
Oh, wait, that's a chair? Oh my god.
Yeah, on my Twitter profile, my main like Oshi symbols are like my butterfly in a chair.
I see. Good lord, I see.
It's always really funny when I mention the chair, but that one was honestly more of an accident. Because when I was making this design, one of the things that I did was specifically my hair and the butterfly clip is actually based off me in real life at some point in my life. And specifically the chair was not supposed to be a chair. It was because it was really sketchy. It was supposed to be a heart with like a couple of chains below it.
Oh.
But when I was studying the skep artist, for some reason all of them thought it was a chair.
Huh.
And I was like, well, you know what? No one else is gonna choose a brand like this anyways. I guess I'll go for it.
So it's a chair now. Oh my god.
Yeah. Actually,
Okay.
if you check, like, actually, my tier 3 subs have a specific name that's based on it.
Oh?
Yeah, my tier 3 subs are the Illune chairs.
Oh my
They're not
god.
customers anymore.
They are chairs. Okay, I see. I
Yes,
see.
they are chairs. You guys can have You guys can imagine anything else if you like, just what where I'm not gonna say why they're called the Illune chairs. Just keep it up in your imagination.
So I see. Alright. If I had to comment anything else about your design, when I was getting around to pixeling it out, I was like, this shouldn't be too bad, this shouldn't be too bad. Oh god, why is there so many details here and there?
I will say this, a lot of my design is like with the help of my VTube mama, and she definitely did a lot for this one.
Oh yeah, one specific part of pixeling out your design that I had to be cautious of is, let's see, I'd have your reference sheet up on one screen and I'd be pixeling it out on the other, and every time I heard my door creak, I was like, shit. There's maybe been one or two other people that's happened with, but only one or two other people.
Yeah, this is why I need to make a version where I just have my VTuber mamas be for PNG on my on that particular part, I guess.
Because yeah, no, that was a complete and total shock the first time I saw it. I was like, oh, I've seen this butterfly around before. Oh, they have a new reference sheet. Oh, that's oh Jesus. I was debating whether I like and retweet that or just, perceive and move on.
Here's the thing, from a distance, people don't notice the second half. From a distance, you're fine. But I guess not really after a while.
Yeah, after... Well, once you've had to, put it on screen for a while and look at it a bit, you realize, oh my god. Jesus.
I like how I'm pretty sure the chat right now just decided to look back at my ref sheet.
Hey, it's Zal,
Sure.
Good lord.
Oh my goodness.
Like, my first impression of that was just, Jesus Christ, I didn't realize it was... Why is it that thick? Oh my god. Like, that's the part that threw me off.
Oh, that was the part that threw you off. There were many other things that could have threw you off in that particular ref sheet.
Yeah,
but...
I know, but it's just... I looked over, I was like, oh god.
Yeah, I will show it to on your interview because I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the rating on your interviews.
Ratings on this particular channel are quite wild. In fact, I probably should have enabled the mature audience thing by now, but I'm not sure if I have.
Okay, I won't move my model like any further below in the below this much then.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll go into the next question, in which case, why VTubing specifically? You were a motion designer, you Taite, etc. Why VTubing?
Alright, okay. So, I guess, first of all, I didn't start VTubing till almost 6 months after I started working for VTubers.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, so I was aware of them. And, like, I knew about them for quite some time. In fact, I knew about Keys in the Eye, like very quickly. Like, when she first came up. And I know this because I remember I was in Japan one day, and my parents are like, oh, what's this character? And I'm like, oh, it's Keys in the Eye. And they're like, huh? Wait, is she from, like, an anime? And I'm like, no. She's just a YouTuber. And they're just like, so why is she so popular? And I had to explain this thing, and it was very awkward. But yeah, I knew about them for a very long time. And I had a bunch of friends who got into VTubing themselves, but that was like a good 6 months before I even started. And part of me kind of realized that, wait a second. VTubing is more business oriented than you type it.
I see.
And the thing is, because I do study like motion, like not motion design, but media production. And media production is all about the business in the entertainment industry. How you're supposed to advertise yourself as like a identity.
Oh yeah?
And it just kind of made sense to go over to like VTubing. And I also just wanted to make it very comfortable for people to know that, hey, staff are also really comfortable people to be with. They're not just working machines that are trying to continue working until they die.
Oh god.
We're still humans. So that's kind of like why I kind of brought up VTubing, and it grew to being more of, yeah, I'm doing this to kind of represent the staffing world in the entertainment industry. Because before I started VTubing, besides motion design, I actually do social media advertising for events.
Oh wow. Alright.
It's not that common nowadays due to the pandemic, but I did used to do a lot of social media advertising for events, and I would occasionally do photography as well for those events.
Oh, very, very nice then.
So yeah, it just made sense to go over to VTubing, considering they still had that business aspect to it.
That's fair, that's fair. Because myself, I used to be involved in copywriting for certain things, or certain events, and live shows and whatnot, but yeah, that kinda went out of business recently. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm aware about that. Oh gosh. Yeah, so many of my friends it was kind of pushed back after for a lot of their jobs, and they're just like, I don't know what to do now.
Nah, like even one of the more recent jobs I got accepted on, they're like, oh yeah, we can't really start anything until after lockdown finishes and after this whole pandemic, so it's just like, yes, don't worry. We had organized like this tournament that we needed to broadcast for, in sometime around August, and we're just like, oh yeah, that's likely going to have to be cancelled, isn't it?
Oh no.
Yeah.
Thankfully here in Canada, our vaccination rates have been super good, so I'll be able to go back to university for the semester.
Oh
wow,
that's quite nice. That's quite nice. If I wanted to go back to education at this point, it's all online.
Yeah, I had that for a year, and that was deadly. But I found out, because I do go in media school, all my professors have like really good equipment. To the point where I remember one of my professors, they were doing like B-roll and had like 4K cameras, and I'm like, what is going on?
Wait, 4K for B-roll? Jeez. Yeah, that's...
Yeah, they had a 4K camera for like B-roll. And even when he was like doing all the Zoom lessons, the thing is, he actually built like this wooden like backing in the background. Well, he purposely did it for like his courses. And then to add to that, you know those projector like screens?
Yep.
Right. He has a projector screen, but he also has inside it a green screen and a blue screen.
Oh, okay, that's needlessly fancy. To have all
Yeah,
in the
it's
same
like
role.
needlessly fancy. But it's like relatively smart as well.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
So that
what
was something.
works then, in which case, but God, that's a bit overkill.
That's kind of the thing you have to realize about a lot of people in media, especially like what we call the boomer generation. Anyone older than mid-30s, they're crazy. They really have it together.
Yes, especially in media. God, anyone there, anyone who's lasted that long in it, for sure. Yeah.
You just need to be insane, I guess.
I suppose so. Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I got into VTubing. Just a lot of.
Let's see, let's see.
Anyway.
I'll flip a coin on the next question I ask here. Heads, I'll ask about art and scab. Tails, I'll ask about music, I suppose. Alright,
Either
then.
one is gonna be interesting.
I rolled a dice instead. Let's see. Odds, in which case, let's ask about scab and art then.
Ooh!
So then. I know you had that stream with Blue the other day, so how many scabs have
Yes?
you ordered before, and how deep down the hole are you?
Alright, let's see. So, I actually never checked, but, like, I did check, but it was like, I definitely know I don't have as many as Blue. That's all I need to say. Is that enough? But, anyways, let me check my page. There's about 26 of them, but
Ooh.
not all of them use my current design.
Hmm.
So they still use my old design, because, yeah, I was still around during the new era of, like, Scab.
Ah,
But
hum.
I've stopped getting as many Scabs just because I do use Scabs occasionally for covers.
Oh, okay.
Like, currently out of the published ones I do have, there's 2 covers out there that have scab art.
Oh, alright then. Is there particular
Which
terms
is,
or conditions you need to apply when it comes to that, or?
yeah, so usually you do have to say that you are gonna be using this cover for, like, on YouTube. You have to mention it's a cover that you're using it for a music video.
Okay.
And this is really common. This is actually something that most people should do. You should always like note to the artist that you are using a certain art piece for, say, Twitch streaming or like YouTube. They're all important things you should consider when scamming people.
Yep.
And once you do have the okay, aka if you get accepted, then it becomes so much easier. And and it's really funny though, because at some point, Japanese scab artists started realizing that I did this. So I started receiving a swarm of emails asking, like, being like, hey, I really like your design. Can you, like, scab me? And I'm like, oh boy.
Oh my. I just
So
got
there
thrown a
was
pebble.
that.
Good lord. Anyway, yeah. Because, yeah, I've heard of some people receiving those kinds of mails before. I'm just like, that's a thing that happens.
Yeah, it's a thing that happens. And I'm not sure why either. But yeah, it's really interesting. Like, all the scab artists that I've gotten for MVs have been super good with the art. So I haven't had too many issues using them for MVs. Actually, the only reason why okay, so there's 2 MVs out right now, which are MV Baby and Usewa.
Oh, makes sense.
Yeah, and specifically Usewa, the dimensions were big enough where I could do a 4K video. So if you do check that cover, it is a 4K video.
Oof.
Yeah.
Man.
Surprisingly, it actually rendered pretty smoothly.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how long would have that taken to render?
I have a pretty good computer, but even then, sometimes it's kind of a hit or miss of whether or not the video will actually render well. And this is something, like, I guess this is going a little bit into the process of how I do things, but I do sometimes render in parts, especially with big videos like these.
Oh yeah? Alright.
So
makes sense.
So it does So it does really help with just making sure that nothing dies, and you have to restart again, and you have to let your PC run overnight. You don't want that. Don't do that to your computer. It it will cry.
Yeah, it really will. It really will. So let's see. The main reason I asked about Scab though is because there are a couple of VTubers and creators that I do often see every now and then if I do browse Scab. Like I'll open Scab, it'll say new works of following clients, etc. And I'm just like, okay, the gorilla's there, the sword is there, okay. Who else is there? Okay, the ice witch is there as well. Got it, got it. And it's like, oh, it's the butterfly again. Ah, it's the butterfly again.
Yeah, there was a time when I did like just get skeps for just the fun of it, because I was curious of how the skep artist will do with my skep arts, because sometimes skep artists go all out, and I'm like, oh dang, nice.
There's a few crazy ones out there which do go ahead and go all out. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the skep artists straight up gave me like a design sheet for an entirely different design with some similarities, and I'm like, well, guess I'm using it.
Oh my god. Okay. Blue, I see. Man says the sword has more than the gorilla now.
I don't even know who the sword is. I'm like, I know the gorilla. Who's the sword?
Oh, the sword's a fella named Chroma, which I don't know how, but every time I hop onto Skep, there's a new work with Chroma or Chromia in it. I'm just like, I see. The sword has the sword has new art. There you go. Like,
Impressive.
While I do see the appeal of getting art for an original character, etc., it is definitely more of a luxury item at times. So, yes. People out there with compulsion for art, please be careful. Not looking at you, Blue, but yes.
I mean, yeah. I have started not skepping as many artists because, like I said, a lot of times I do skep artists or like ask artists if for specifically music videos, and I have realized a lot of people in the community are just like, so what are the chances Raina will get me as her artist for a music video? And I'm like, because I didn't realize how many people actually wanted it for like their art to be in a music video. And then I posted being like, hey, I need an artist for something, and the swarm just happened.
Okay.
Happened.
So,
like,
alright, I'm going to have to ask, have you ever accidentally triggered the wave of art bots before?
I have once.
Ooh.
Surprisingly. I have once, but it wasn't as bad, because the second time I did it, what I did was I put a star in the, like, instead of commissions like saying CO, like blah 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 blah, I put the O as a star.
Oh,
so
smart,
I could
smart.
like, yeah, it is an O, and even then I still got like 60 comments, and I'm like,
oh god, that is bound to happen. Christ.
Yeah, it happens, and it becomes it somehow ends up on like Skeb too, cause okay, I had this weird point in my life where I was really close with the Japanese community.
Oh yeah.
And I think it kind of caught on, cause a lot of so that was something.
Man.
So I haven't had to worry about the art bot thing as much.
The one weird incident I've had with bots, I think, was on the live 2D server before, and that was putting down a request for a rig and then suddenly getting swarmed to hell and back.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, yeah. Some things watch that server like a hawk, essentially.
Like, thankfully I didn't have to worry about the live 2D things like as much, because I did rig my own model, and I do use live 2D for music videos as well.
Fancy stuff, fancy stuff.
Fancy!
Alright then, I might as well ask about music videos and whatnot. So, first off, very simple question. Do you have any particular preferences music-wise? Whether it's genre, style, singing, etc.?
So surprisingly not really, because it just depends on my mood, and usually I do prefer Japanese. I'm not very good at Korean, so I usually avoid Korean. I can do Mandarin, but it's a very hit and miss, and I'm like, do I want to sing this song? Not feeling it. Moving on. And I have a similar thing with English songs. Like, but Vocaloid songs have always been a huge thing for me. So it's usually Vocaloid. It has a soft spot in my heart. Like, to put in perspective, I've been listening to Vocaloid since 2012.
Good year. 2012 was. Yeah.
Yeah. 2012 was a really good year. And I think it was a really good like transition for me because I was really into this producer known as Studio Tiara, who is known for doing a mix between modern classical and a bit of like EDM as well.
Oh yeah?
Super interesting. Like, if you ever just search up like Studio Tiara Vocaloid, or specifically their song Gravity Rain, you're most likely gonna find their channel.
Alright, alright. Okay, I'll keep that one in mind then.
Like, I haven't seen much of their work now, but I am a little bit more flexible with the songs I sing. Just because I've sang a lot from like Mafu Mafu, which is just screams.
Man, Mafu.
And recently I've been like, as of 2018, I did start going more into the pop and EDM side and the rap side as well. So I do have a variety of songs I choose, and honestly, it's whatever song that hits me, I guess. It's just like, it hits different kind of thing.
Fair enough.
And I didn't mention this actually last night, where I was just crying over Luna. Which Luna, it's spelled like asterisk and then Luna. And they're a Vocaloid producer who's also more close like to the EDM indie pop side.
Alright.
And they were probably, I mentioned that they were the very first Vocaloid producer, where I felt something. My heart just felt something, and I'm like, I don't understand a single thing this like song is saying to me, but for some reason, because I didn't know Japanese at the time.
Oh,
and
okay.
Like, this is like very much before I started learning Japanese, but for some reason I was like, I understand what the song's saying. Holy shit, I see colors!
Wait, that's what you got out of it? Oh my god.
Like, it's all like colors. Okay, it's all like colors in a really random way. It's like, I saw colors in a way where, just like my motion design videos, I saw them moving. I saw them moving in a pathway, and I was like, huh.
Okay, because usually when I hear someone saying I see colors, it's usually because they're high as a kite, but nonetheless, yeah.
No, I swear I wasn't on drugs that day. I don't smoke weed or anything. I am very much a good child.
Right.
I am a good child. I was not drinking either. I would like to confirm that neither one of these was a thing. It just so happens that for some reason music was the drug.
Alright, close enough, yeah. That works out fine then.
But they were the very first producer where I was like, I feel emotions toward this song, and I can see a new visual coming up in my head, and I want to do it.
Alright, fair enough.
See. Oh yeah, someone asked if my commissions are open now. Yes, they have been since the beginning of August.
Alright then. I may have something to commission you at some point. Potentially. I'll see. I'll get back to you on it.
I will look forward to those.
Anyhow, let's go ahead and ask about motion design specifically then. So when it comes to motion design, what exactly got you into it, and what per se makes up motion design?
Okay, so you may want to sit down for this one.
Sure. I'm already seated anyhow.
So I got into motion design because I had a crush on a guy who needed videos.
What? Okay. Let's hear it then. Let's hear it.
So, okay, by the way, I would like to confirm I am not into this guy anymore. I am single. and it's been many years since then. But this, I would like to confirm that first.
Oh Christ, okay. Go on. Let's hear it then.
But yeah, so I got into motion design because he was like, oh yeah, I need a motion designer, and I'm like, okay, well, I should learn this then. My school provided like After Effects, like CS6 version, which is not as heavy as the current versions.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, why don't I just start motion design? And I remember it was like, I remember that I would continue working motion design, and because I was in the Utah community, I had a lot of people asking me for motion design later on, and I was like, sure. And then I realized, oh no, I'm stuck in this. I've put myself in a loophole that I never thought I was gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
And I am now shut in on my laptop working on these videos. But yeah, I did have a crush. It was all because of a crush that I lost interest in after like 3 months. And
And you sunk yourself into a skill as deep as motion design.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's what carried me through like a good chunk of my life now. Like that's like surprisingly, it's gotten me through a lot from just having a lot of connections with a lot of people to like a lot of connections with a lot of people to the extent where I moved to a different country for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
Because I mentioned earlier that my family's in America. I'm in Canada.
Uh-huh. Damn.
And that's only because I pursued going into media production in Canada. Yeah. So, yeah, crush can get you far. I actually had a similar thing with Japanese as well.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
do
I had a
go
Japanese
on.
boyfriend.
Do go on.
I had a Japanese boyfriend at some point, and I started learning because of Japanese boyfriend who I broke up with after a month and a half.
Didn't even last as long. Oh Christ! All right. Well, I mean, as long as you're walking away from both of those with valuable skills, then what works, I suppose. Yeah. Good lord.
It's always something whenever I mention either of these stories.
No, they're plenty
like,
fine for motivations, nonetheless.
Yeah, they are. I don't know how they end up continuing on. It's just kind of like, yeah, for some reason both of those just happened to be because of a crush, but I'm still going.
Alright then,
So yeah,
let's put everything together then. So what exactly is your creative process when it comes to, say, music videos? How do you go through those?
Alright, so first of all, it's obviously choosing what song it is. Because at the end of the day, as much as motion design has its impressive factors, motion design in history has always been used to enhance the sound.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, and actually, because motion design hasn't been around for long, but since the 1920s, when they were just moving a bunch of black pieces around, it was always used to enhance the music. So always, I look for what kind of song I'm really into, and it's basically anything that gives me heartstrings. Basically, be like, oh my goodness, I want to cover this. Animate. So it's that kind of like thing. And then this is when I start like actually thinking of things like, okay, who am I gonna get to mix this? Who am I gonna get to do the art for this? And then once I do have like an idea, I contact the artist. I contact the artist, mentioning my plans to them, giving them a center amount of ideas and maybe a few like things to consider, like, oh, this pose or this lighting and maybe separate layers. So that's what I do. And then I go to the mixer. And it's weird because I don't usually have the lines ready when I contact a mixer. And the reason for that is because I want to pressure myself into recording it.
Oh yeah?
Because one thing that's an issue with a lot of like recording artists, and I know a lot of recording artists are going to understand this, is that a lot of them sometimes lose motivation very quickly to actually start recording for things. So the reason why I contact the mixer is so that way I have a reason to record and pretty much as fast as possible and stuff like that. Because yeah, going to recording booths, aka closets and whatever thing, it can get kind of hot. So people don't like to stay in like recording closets for that long. But if I have an incentive, then that lets me like get ready for recording. So yeah. So once I do have the mixer and the artist is working, the mixer is about to work, and I start recording.
All right.
And once I get the recording done, I send it to mixer. And while that's getting done, most likely the art is done, and that's when I can start working on the video. Which, here's the biggest misconception. Most people think I have a storyboard, but honestly, the only time I ever have a storyboard is if they ask about it.
Hey. Oh god. I see,
Yeah.
I see. Wait, so do you just work on the fly then, in which case?
Yes.
Christ,
I work on the fly. So, yeah, usually, because when I listen to a song, I automatically, like, my head, like, I mentioned how Luna was the producer that got me into having, like, thinking of colors and everything in a journey. I have a similar, and it continued to be a thing with a lot of music videos, where I'm now, like, the moment I hear a song, I already have a visual of what I want to do in the song. And once I do sit down to actually work on the video, my brain is just going like a thousand kilometers an hour, just being like, I see colors. Okay, I know this movement works. I know this one works. Oh, this is gonna be the better impact at this line.
Alright.
And so, and yeah, I already have like a choice of colors I always want to do. If I don't, I go over to Adobe Color Wheel, and yeah, it really helps a lot.
Yeah, that one does help out for Color Fury and whatnot, definitely.
Yeah, and then I have like a good 200 fonts, so I have a lot to choose from.
200 fonts.
I have
Phew.
I have a zip file. I could send it to you later if you want.
Oh god, sure. That'd be useful for a few things, yeah.
Yeah, I have a zip file. I have a zip file for just like for all my stuff. Like my fonts. Which my font folder I think is a good gigabyte.
Good lord. How does it even... Huh. I see.
Cause I also have like I have English fonts, I have Japanese fonts and Korean fonts. Korean fonts is boring, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah, because it's only circles and squares, like circles and like lines that are only symmetrical. Or like not really symmetrical, but like they're basically straight lines or just circles. It's very boring to like actually have to make fonts for.
Oh, okay. Had no idea about
so there's
that
not a lot
one,
of variety.
but yeah.
Okay, here's like a little challenge you can check out. If you ever look at like Korean like K-drama TV posters, look at the fonts, and you're gonna start seeing how little variety there is in the movie posters. They all look the same.
Oh shit. Okay, that's probably something I'm never going to be able to see the same again then, in which case. Because there are a few things in this world which the moment you teach someone about them, you're never able to see them the same again. But hold up a sec before I mention that, by the way. Anyhow, Kai, thanks for the raid, by the way. Really appreciate it. Nonetheless, one of the things that you cannot unsee after someone's taught you about it is text kerneling.
Oh no!
Yes, when you teach someone that this letter is meant to be spaced a bit more or spaced a bit less, suddenly the entire world unravels. And you can never see text the same way ever again.
Okay, I'm gonna say this right now. I thankfully did not have to worry too much about text kerneling because of how fast-paced my motion design videos are.
Fair enough, fair enough.
And also Japanese like text kerneling is just really, really good. I don't know what Latin texts are doing. I don't know what they're doing.
I think it's mainly from, if you do throw Japanese out on a grid, it still works perfectly fine. But if you throw English out on a grid, you can get some really troublesome looking cases.
Yeah, it's really weird. Cause yeah, not all Japanese letters are exactly like the same sizes, and somehow they all seem equal. So I've just never had to worry about them. But then every time I see English, I die on the inside, like for a second.
Yes, text kerneling is a different kind of misery. Also, yeah, hydrate, redeem. Go ahead and take a sip after that whole tirade, I suppose. In the meantime, I've got to pull out a tarot card, but hey.
I have my water bottle that's the same size as my Switch.
Yeah. Oh God. Okay.
You gotta stay hydrated, you know?
Yeah, you do. Especially as a vocalist, you should stay hydrated as much as possible, but nonetheless.
I also used to live in a desert, so...
Oh, wait,
New Mexico was a desert.
Oh, Christ. I see.
Yeah, in the fall, the humidity drops down to 10%.
Yikes. Okay, that's just the moment anything drops on the ground, it's already been absorbed.
Yeah, we don't have mosquitoes because they all die.
Wait, what?
Yeah, because there's no water.
Oh, yeah. I see.
Yeah, because there's no water for them to lay their eggs.
My God, surely there's some other issue that crops up though, thanks to that, but...
Yeah, there's quite a few things, but... I can definitely say I'm no longer used to the decrease in humidity. What is the tarot card, by the way?
What's the tarot card? Oh, let's see. So I pulled Temperance in the reverse position. So in this case, for a 1-card fortune, I just read the exact meaning of that, and Temperance, usually in the upright position, means balance or equilibrium of sorts, keeping the status quo. In the case of being in the reverse, you kind of just inflect the meaning of it, so you end up with turbulence or chaos, essentially. Or just a disruption to the status quo. So something's probably going to shake up your life in a while.
Well, that's something.
Yeah, more or less.
You're just like, hey, chat member comes in. Oh, well.
Oh, that was part of a redeem, but anyway.
True. I don't know if there's much else I can mention about the creative process with me, because a lot of, especially my own projects, it's very much I go with the flow, and for some reason everything automatically just shows up for me.
I suppose the last thing to mention would be like formatting or finishing off how you render things and whatnot.
So it depends. Like I already know like the format that I want to use for a video when I get to it, because you have to consider dimensions first already, and if I already know it's gonna be a heavy video, I already plan out like if I'm gonna render this like while I'm like going shopping or something or anything else like that. And I will admit stream videos are absolute hell to like actually set up. So yeah, I do stream videos for like stream graphics for people, and they can ask for things like animated stream overlays or other things like that. But there's a catch. And that's the fact that you do have to consider that the more stuff you add, like video-wise, into a stream, the more weight it puts on OBS.
Definitely, yes.
And it's something people forget a lot. And it's definitely something you have to consider, especially as a VTuber, and especially if you don't have a iPhone, which the iPhone usually takes up the power to like face track and everything. But when you're using a webcam, you need to literally use a webcam, and they use a face tracking program connected to that, meaning it's more heavy in your computer.
Yeah, definitely.
So I've always had to like plan out videos that way, and make sure that they aren't dying. I don't want my clients like streams just dying.
Gotta keep it resource light or just a bit more efficient, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to think smart sometimes, and I had a similar thing with Live 2D where I have to use my brain somehow more than motion design itself. I'm just like my brain.
It's worked out fine, I'd say, but hey. Let's see, if I had to ask further on sort of like motion graphics design or whatnot, let's see. Would likely be regarding the levels that you offer in terms of commissions. Yeah. Let's see, so say a level 1 compared to a level 4 then. So something very basic compared to you going all out. How much of a difference is there?
There is quite a difference. So whenever I'm working with a level 1, one thing I can pretty much ignore is the camera. Like, I don't have to worry about camera movements, and a lot of it's basically working on the scene. Because I have a thing where I have the base price, which is basically for scene building and brainstorming. Because as much as I can brainstorm for my own like videos quite easily, that is not always the case with commissioners. Commissioners always have ideas that I'm just like, my head does not compute. My head does not compute.
Okay, what's the weirdest idea that you've come across then?
It's not really the weirdest idea. It's just more of, actually, I think I can think of one.
Oh yeah?
So I can actually mention this one too, because I'm actually really good friends with this person now.
Alright, by all means.
I remember I received a video. I received a video commission, and I was like, "Oh, she has a really cute character," but I forgot to check what the audio was.
Oh.
Because when I checked it, okay. Do you know Mado Mew?
I think I've heard of them at least.
Yes. So I worked on a video of theirs. It was the very first one, and she had a really good character, but I didn't realize that the song she chose was the Corpse Husband song. What was it? E-girls are ruining my life. What's it called?
Something like that, along those lines at least. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, so this is supposed to be a dark video, huh? Huh. Yeah, and I was like, okay, so a cute character with the dark and messed up kind of, huh. So it turned out well in the end. It's just that it's definitely something that I had to think about for a second, and my brain was going in so many directions I never thought I would.
Fair enough.
So yeah, it's something I do have to consider whenever making these videos. But going back to the question, definitely level 1. I don't have to worry too much about making multiple scenes. And versus a level 4, where I do have to consider how many scenes do I have to make, how complex do you want them, do I want to add 3D, and other things. And most of the time, my commissioner is like asking for text/typography from me, like moving text, since that's what I'm known for. And I'm like, how complex do I want to make this text on this person's video? But safe to say, like, I don't get a lot of like level 4s because people don't always have the money to pay for a level 4.
Mm-hmm. That's fair enough. Fair enough. But, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So but I do get quite a few that want a level 2, which I still have to do like slight camera design, like camera movements. Level 3 is definitely a lot more camera movements. But yeah. To say the safe.
That's fair enough.
Mm-hmm. And I did have to start making new things, like new categories for like stream graphics, because pricing does vary with that, and same with like social media advertising.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's that.
That's fair enough entirely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nonetheless, I will have to ask, because it was a very wild point when I suddenly saw it the first time anyhow. Or I was working with HoloLive or Cover Corp all of a sudden. Yeah, I am going to have to ask that one.
Yeah, because when you first showed me that question, I was like, people remember I worked for HoloLive at some point?
Yeah.
Like sometimes I have to sometimes I mention it out of the blue and then people are like, wait, what? You worked for HoloLive at some point? And I'm like, yeah, I worked for Kiara. So,
yeah,
okay.
When I first saw that, when it went out, I was like, wait, Raina? Wait, what? Oh god, okay.
Yeah. I will say this now. And this goes in, and this is probably a topic I really kind of wanted to be a little careful of mentioning, is the fact that there is a difference with working with the actual talent versus working with the manager of the talent.
Oh boy.
I
know
will
that
say
feeling
this.
a bit too well. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say this. Like, when you're working with a company, if you're working with a company, one of the biggest things they always need is time, because they always want to make sure everyone knows what's going on. But a lot of times with the HoloLive members, they do actually get to choose which artists and staff that they get to work with. At least that's what it seems like. And another thing is that they pretty much have full control of how they, like, not exactly how they want the video to look like, but things of changes, like text choices. Kiara did ask me to do like a few text changes on the typography, maybe adding a few things. And just overall, like, maybe any corrections on the Japanese and stuff like that. And frankly, that's the easiest part.
Oh yeah?
That's the easiest part, getting through a company, because at least you have full, like, communication with the, like, talent. And especially with my experience working for defense as well, it is so much easier when you're working with the top main planner.
Oh boy, yeah, definitely.
But the second part was a little bit scarier, I will admit, because then you have to speak with her manager, because her manager is like, because obviously the managers are the one who handle like invoices and just like other things like that.
Yep.
And I don't think people realize this, but HoloLive has an overseas, it's on their website, by the way, but they have an overseas corp. So they have the cover corp, and then they have an overseas section.
Oh,
so
okay.
basically, because I don't think people remember, but when they were hiring people for Gen 1 of HoloLive, they had people who were, they had an audition for not only the talents, but also managers.
Yeah.
And people don't remember there's actually an overseas, like, there's an overseas sector. I think Kiara's is actually, like, I think Kiara's manager is, like, someone who actually lives in Japan. It does feel like that. Cause yeah, Cover Corp is still a Japanese company, and especially the English side, they still follow Japanese rules.
Oh, I see.
So, getting your so invoices do take time. There are strict rules you need to consider, and you just kind of have to be still pretty formal. even though all the managers seem really nice and really chill. They all seem really chill, honestly. As a company, especially as a Japanese company, they are much more chill. And I will say I do have a little bit more of praise towards Hololive as a company.
Oh yeah? Alright.
Because yeah, they do get to choose their talents. The talents get to like speak with the artist they work with. And it's just a very chill experience until the invoicing part.
Yes, because at that point where management gets involved, you kind of have to put your foot down and just be like, all right, we need to settle business matters.
Yeah, but yeah, Kiara was super nice, and she shouted me out at some point. So I have a lot of her fans, and I know this because all of her fans have the word KFC in their profiles. Sorry, I'm calling you out, guys.
Oh my, I see. Alright then.
So yeah, definitely after working for Kiara, I have a lot more respect for her.
Alright then, I may as well throw the contrasting question here then. What are your thoughts in particular on the indie VTuber scene?
Okay, so the indie VTuber scene's interesting, like, because I've definitely noticed there's a huge difference between the Japanese scene and the Korean scene.
Oh yeah?
Like Korean scene or like international scene. Because it seems like, especially with the English scene, they, like, all of them are casual in their own way, but I have noticed that the English scene does seem a little bit more open on a lot more topics. You know what I'm talking about to some extent.
Yeah, to an extent. There's less NG, anyhow.
Yeah, especially with the English side. And it definitely does feel like the English side is... At first, I felt like they were trying to be closer to Hololive, but now I feel like they're trying to be closer to like what actually like most streamers are, like in the English side.
Oh yeah, traditional streaming, nonetheless. Yeah.
Yeah, very traditional streaming. I'm in this weird side where, due to my job and due to the demand of the job, I meet a lot of people who are in different sides of the scene. Some are more casual, some of them are more professional. Cause have I mentioned that I worked for Girl DM?
No, I didn't actually know about that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, I worked on her stingers. So all of her stingers are done by me.
Oh wow.
So,
okay.
yeah.
Because considering you not only offer like motion design for music videos, but also just social media and like stream stuff, then yeah, makes sense that you'd cover a whole bunch of different subsets and whatnot.
Yeah, so with all the subsets I've done, it's very common where I do meet a lot of different sides. And I'm gonna say this, I do side with more of the side that does like more productions and really want to get into other things like music and other staff work. So I'm very close to that side more, but I do know a lot of the gaming side really wants like stuff for me too.
Hey, quality work is quality work, nonetheless, I will say.
What I will say is that definitely the ones who stay VTubing are the ones who seem very dedicated into it. So I feel I'm pretty okay with it as long as they're very considerate of others, know that VTubing is really broad right now. And yeah, and never feel afraid to try out new things in VTubing because it's still a new kind of like side.
Yeah, like there's nothing... There's a few things that are perhaps established thanks to the corporations, but then when you're an indie, well, you have that pure freedom to do whatever the heck you want, really, so...
And I will say this, I don't plan to go into companies anytime soon, just because I like the freedom, okay? I like the freedom. And I don't know if it's just me, but I really like having full, like, responsibility with everything from just invoicing everyone, making sure that everyone has received all the information they need, and making sure I update everything whenever I need to. And I just enjoy having independence despite that independence having responsibility.
Fair. Because I've been on the opposite side of things of just not necessarily being a corporate myself, but being a talent manager. And
Oh, no.
it's an interesting time, I will say.
Like, I feel like being a talent manager for like one person is a little easier to bear. If there's multiple people, it's just, oh my goodness, how do people do it?
Oh, multiple people's kind of fun, actually. You message a different person every other minute.
I mean, I do that with commissioners too. Because admittedly, I don't take that long with commissions.
Oh, fair enough.
So that's why I also don't call my commissions rush prices. I call them priority slots.
Okay.
Because, yeah, I call them priority slots. Because if people want me to finish theirs earlier, they pay for that.
Hey, it's more or less like expedited or express shipping, I suppose. The product's already quick enough to finish, so hey.
I mean, it's not the fact, like, okay, in the month of January, I had a point where I had about 32 videos done.
Okay.
Don't know what was up in my head that month, but I was like,
yeah, wait, that's more than a video per day.
Yes. And it was and I looked back at it, like, today, adding things into my, like, events list, and it was very awkward to see these Twitter day by days, like, these Twitter posts of me just working on music videos, like, stacked up on each other. It happened a similar thing happened actually on my debut month, which was awkward.
Oh, Christ, alright.
Raina, why? I like the grind, guys. I like the grind.
I see. Good lord. I'm glad at times my freelance work isn't the most demanding, because that means I have time for other stuff, but damn. Because, yeah.
I mean, at least you have time for other stuff.
Because, yeah, in comparison, freelance writing, generally you don't get as many jobs. You just pray you land one particularly stable job and then work from there.
Yeah, I've noticed that, especially with the freelance writing side, because it's the most underrated kind of job, and people don't realize how actually important it is.
Yes, being able to communicate properly is very important. As much as people think, oh yeah, anyone can be a writer, or anyone can, copyright or whatever. Yeah, can you copyright well though?
Yeah, that's another thing. Because I can definitely say, as much as I'm in the visual side, I suck at writing.
Oh well.
It's fine, but because anyways, in most media writing, like especially on my end, the most I need is the communication of an 11-year-old like English student.
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, if you're at that level, anyone can understand it at that point, so perfectly fine.
Exactly. But admittedly, I do suck at it, and even though I lived in America most of my life, my parents didn't speak American English. They spoke, for the longest time, they spoke British English, and not well.
Oh, shite. I see.
So it was, so that was a weird time, and I just never learned English well.
Let's see, I had the weird case of learning British, followed by Australian, followed by American, all within the same span, really. Because, yeah, how does one say? Australian TV is not very consistent.
Ah.
Not by any stretch. And when you have English second language parents, yeah. You get some
I
wildly varying results.
I've heard about like British TV being crazy. I've never heard of Australian TV though.
How does one say? Australian TV is very casual, like extremely casual. Same with our politics. Like the case I like bringing up the most because it happened recently and seems a very much like a case of the government has zero power, was more or less the Prime Minister was recording something about, let's see, something about home ownership and like broadcasting it live on TV, blah blah blah. He was standing on some guy's lawn. Homeowner comes out, opens the door. Hey mate, can you get off my lawn? I just seeded that. Come on, get off the lawn. Prime Minister, ah shit. Alright, guys, move off the lawn, move off the lawn. Yeah, and you just watch all these news reports just back up. And they get onto the footpath and it's like, oh, okay, yep, we're good, keep going. That's Australian TV in a nutshell.
I never really had that because the TV I saw the most was American TV, Hong Kong TV, and now Canadian TV. And I'll say this, that all of them are not as casual, but social media is another story.
Ah, fair enough.
Like when I was there was a case where the Prime Minister, not the Prime Minister, but I forgot what it was called again, but basically I guess like the governor of that particular province, he was trying to get people to stay at home no. And what he did, and I don't know why he did this, was he decided to say stay at home in multiple languages, but in the worst way possible. And that it made so many people angry, especially because in Canada, there's actually a requirement where all governmental documents has to be done in English, French, Mandarin Chinese, Cantonese, and Korean.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's actually a lot more than I expected. I expected like
and also
French
Farsi.
Canadian, maybe, but yeah.
Yeah, because we have a huge population of like Cantonese and Chinese and Farsi people.
Okay, fair enough.
And here I am trying to say stay at home in Cantonese is...
Can somewhat imagine it being terrible.
Oh no. But yeah, let's see. Was there any other questions for me out of the blue?
Out of the blue like that? Not quite. So let's see then. So if we move on to the next seeded bunch, it would simply be, so what are your favorite kinds of streams, whether they are to do them yourself or to tune in on them?
Okay, so for ones I tune into, I actually don't tune into art streams.
Oh,
like,
really?
Despite, I don't, cause the issue with doing like art, cause the thing is, if I look at an art stream, I become too focused on the art stream, and I can't do my own work. So I actually watch a lot of gaming streams because it keeps me awake. Or I specifically watch Joel, like the porcelain doll, because he yells like a football announcer.
Yeah, that works.
Some of the things, and some of the things he says, you have to double check. So I do hop in, so that helps a lot. And I don't like listening to Valorant streams because I get a what was it called? I get scared because they suddenly scream all of a sudden, and I don't need that in my life.
Wait,
I don't need that in my life.
For Valorant?
I don't need horror screams.
Eh?
Yeah, yeah, in Valorant, because most of it is just like planning to get ready to shoot, and then someone panics because someone suddenly shoots at them.
I suppose so, yeah.
So I watch Apex.
Okay, yeah. Apex makes sense because it's more of a constant thrill rather than sudden shock.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. The issue is that Valo, everyone just panics over wins. So Apex, I actually prefer watching more just because I don't have to worry about that sudden like scream.
The sudden scream
And
only
also-
happens if you get picked off by like a Kraber or something, but hey.
I mean, but another thing is also because Valorant. So a lot of people call me Raina instead of Raina.
Oh.
And
I
if
see.
you know, there is a character
Yeah.
named Raina in Valorant, and it's the character that everyone hates.
Oh god. No,
I don't need that in my life right now.
No, it's part of why if I want to be productive, I don't put on Counter-Strike.
Oh, oh no.
Because yes,
Oh,
every
no.
other round you'll see someone calling out, oh, they're having an eco. Or, oh, it's going to be an eco round. I'm just like, yes, I know I chose this name for a reason, but at the same time, god fucking damn it, why?
I've had this name since I've had this, like, my alias name for a good, how many years now? 8 years now?
Wow, okay.
Because I used to use it for, like, writing. I know that sounds weird considering I suck at writing, but I used to do writing. So I was just like, So yeah, it was. So I do listen to Apex like streams because they're the most active and they keep me awake while not giving me a heart attack.
Alright then, as for the kind of streams you do yourself then.
So I do a mix between games. So I do motion design, probably the most honestly, because people like coming in to like relax or learn about After Effects. It's one of the two. Or they want to hear me rant about stuff. Because I mentioned weird things.
Yep, as you mentioned at the start. God, fuck.
Eco, I'm so sorry. I killed Eco at the beginning of the stream.
Why have you done this? Why have you done almost? Really? Like, oh, that just... Oh, God, everything's wrong now, everything.
What were you expecting from America? What were you expecting from America? Like, I know Australia is considered the upside down land, but still.
Yeah.
You really think right side up is any better?
My God, it's still just a horrifying prospect that... Oh, God, why?
But yeah, I do motion design streams where I just chat and talk. I occasionally do podcasts on music topics. So mostly about Vocaloid and other Japanese songs or Korean. So it's either one of those. And then I also do gaming streams. Most likely single player. A lot of visual novels.
Hey.
And yeah, visual novels. Help me. And then I have an issue with visual novels, but but that is something that I do on my streams occasionally. And yeah, it's usually one of those three. I don't do Apex. Basically, I watch what I don't do, and I do what others don't.
Good logic to have, good logic to have.
Because I don't want to always compare myself to like other streamers who do the same things. And I do want to keep it as casual and as like flexible for people. Even though my streams happen in European times.
Yes, the few times I've caught your streams have all been like, if I just wake up, I'm like, oh, Raina's streaming. Okay, may as well tune in while I'm waking up.
Yeah, thankfully, if I'm doing collabs, it might be Australian time.
Seems like it anyhow, in some cases. Like today, for instance, we are mildly in Australian time, but I'm pretty sure it's a wild time of the night for you right now.
It is 12:33 a.m. I mean, I'm still up around this time, in terms of like work.
Good God.
What can I say? Your brain goes to, like, your brain wants to release all the artistic ideas all of a sudden.
Okay, fair. Because if I'm ever struck with inspiration for writing, I don't sleep until I'm done writing, essentially. Sometimes
same
that
here.
ends up being all the way at like, what, 6 a.m. in the morning. I'm just like, press enter one more time. Okay, I'm done. What have I done?
Yeah, I know there's an issue when I see the sun rising.
Ah, yes, the sun rising. Yeah. Yeah, oh God.
I try to prevent that as much as possible.
Because yeah, in my case, if the sun starts rising, I'm not really able to go back to sleep because I have, let's see, 2 of my walls are functionally just windows. So yeah, it's great during like a thunderstorm because the entire room gets flashbanged every time there's a lightning strike. But if you're trying to sleep and it's sunny outside, it is nigh impossible, even if you pull across the curtains.
Oh, I haven't. Okay, so my place, how it works is, it's one gigantic window on one side.
Oh boy.
I still sleep through that somehow.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just because, due to my work, I'm just able to sleep anywhere.
Fair. Because yeah,
Like I remember I was like, I can sleep on planes pretty easily. Recently I
wow.
did, and the person next to me looks very concerned. AK was like this 11-year-old who was like 6 foot. Like they were just like 180. They were such a tall 11-year-old.
As it happens at times, as it happens.
The younger generation's getting taller, and I hate it.
I mean, I'm not particularly that tall myself. I only landed clocking at about 170 or so. But anyway.
That's still pretty good.
It's alright, but if you're in Australia, well, you're on the shorter end of things.
Yeah, I'm aware. Australia, like I hear about the Australians who are super tall, but then I hear about the ones who are very short.
There was one Aussie VTuber that I definitely was a lot taller than, but that one's a funny case. God.
Oh boy, but yeah. Where were we? Right.
Work till the sunrise. Got it.
Yes. Work till the sunrise, exactly. I don't like that, so I try to sleep when it's the sun's still down.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I just hate it because like it's like my eyes.
Yep. Alright then, simple next question. So what exactly does content creation mean to you?
Content creation for me is very interesting, and it depends on if it's music videos or if it's streaming. Because the thing about music videos is there's only so much of an emotion that you can bring to people, and there's a certain amount of a longevity that happens with music videos. Which is why every music video I make is supposed to be an experience. There's always going to be those music producers who make music that's very catchy for dances, or make the ones that are very nice to play in the background. Every video I make is an experience. It's an experience that I aim to make to be both watchable and being able to listen. And yeah, I've gotten really into, like, I've definitely tried to make it where I want to give the same expression I had when I first listened to Illune song.
I see, yes, colors.
Well, it's not even just colors, it's just I do want to, like, give an emotion to people that I want people to feel an emotion.
Yeah.
And that's always my goal when it comes to every music video I make, which is why I always try to make sure they're the highest quality possible.
No, that works out
'Cause,
perfectly
yeah.
fine then. Yeah.
And then as for streaming, it's weird because I never intended to like I said, I started streaming out of just kind of nowhere, and it wasn't intending to be how it is now. But I definitely do streaming for the sake of being a motivation for people who do want to go into the entertainment side. I can vouch for that, especially as an Asian myself. It is really hard.
Yep, definitely. Good lord. Entertainment is a wild field to try and make your way in. Yeah.
Yeah, and the people who do make it, we barely have we are barely considered normal.
Yep, as I once quoted from a certain music producer I had on here once, music people don't sleep.
That is true. Music people do not sleep.
Because all of the producers I know sleep at very concerning times.
One thing I will
Yeah.
say is, even though if you don't get a lot of sleep, I do make sure I eat properly. Like, please actually eat. I know a lot of people neglect their eating, but oh my goodness, please eat.
Yeah, eating's more important for the most part. Like, just if you don't eat, you're not going to have energy. If you have no energy, you are just going to fall back asleep at some point. And if you're sleeping, well, some would say that's productive up to a certain point. Just get enough sleep that you're at your maximum efficiency. After that, well, you do you.
Yeah, I do try to actually have a proper schedule as much as motion design says otherwise. And and that's also why most of my streams happen in the afternoon.
Ah, I see.
Because because I do wake up, I actually wake up around 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. I actually don't I don't get a lot of sleep, but I get at least sleep. And one thing to say is that I do stream around specifically 2 to 3 a.m. Not 2 to 3 a.m., 2 to 3 p.m. Because I want to make sure I'm always being motivated for streams and whenever I do stream motion design. And it's overall a relaxing thing for me.
Yeah,
because the issue with streaming in the morning is I'm actually weirdly more chaotic in the morning. I don't know why, but there's a switch in my brain at around that time where for some reason I'm like a rabbit. I'm like a dog or a rabbit the first time they meet their new home.
Oh god.
I am way too hyper.
Fair enough. Myself in the mornings, well, it's usually the opposite.
Yeah, because usually you have the opposite, and people grab a cup of coffee. For some reason. I don't need coffee, I'm just that hyper.
Oh god. I suppose in that sense, yeah, sleep won't keep you down. Oh.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest issue. You should not have a, can't say extrovert, but someone with a lot of energy doing motion design.
Oh god, I see, yeah.
I'm a bad combo because I have way too much energy. And I'm doing motion design.
Let's see. In which case, yeah, I'd say kind of the opposite for a writer. You shouldn't have someone too introverted doing writing in comparison. Because
Aren't most...
Yeah.
Wait a second, aren't most writers introverts?
Yeah, they are. The issue then comes with... oh, I need to show my work to an editor eventually. Shit. And that's where the sheer panic sets in. If you're more of an extrovert, then instead you just go, oh yeah, here's my writing, go for it, read it. See how it is.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm in between, so I'm more close to the ambivert side. So while I
Ah.
really like showing my work, sometimes I go to my commissioners and I'm like, how is it? Do you want any changes? Please tell me all the changes first so I could get them done. And I just like part of me just has a fear inside, and I'm like, oh boy, please say no, please say no, please say I can move on.
Yeah, nah, I know that feeling when it comes to freelance writing, simply because it's just like, ah, yes. So, have you read it? Is it fine?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's also the same with collabs, honestly. I'm like, I feel like I'm going back to my high school days when I'm like asking out a crush.
That's the impression? Oh god.
Like, I'm just like, how do I talk to them? Are they gonna like me? Is everything gonna be okay? Like, you can think of it, like asking people for a collab is kind of like a crush sometimes, because you're essentially trying to choose the right word to see if they'll like you and want to like hang out with you and stuff like that.
Oh god. When you put it that way, I'm probably one reckless bastard, in which case. Because all I do is like, hey, would you like an interview? That is pretty much all I put down. Depending on their response, then I follow up.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, usually what I do is I literally just put the emojis of just eyes.
I see.
Like with collabs, because usually I do have someone I want to collab with, and I'm like, and like if it's someone I'm close to, then I'll obviously be like, okay, let's collab. And then sometimes they don't prepare the collab, so I just grab their collar, put them into a group DM, and be like, let's begin.
Oh god. Oh god. That seems rather threatening.
But if it's like a person on Twitter, I have to be like very careful. You just like if a collab comes up, you're just like, okay, how do I do this DM? Will I be alright with this DM? Will they take it then? It's like a visual novel. You choose choices.
I suppose so. I'd always choose the very blunt choice of being like, yeah, you up for an interview? Okay, what time? Alright, this date? Alright, I'll get back to you.
That's me with commissions, but that's not me with collabs.
Yeah, fair. Hey.
Oh boy.
Go ahead and drink some water. Hydrate.
Okay. I enjoy water. I remember as a little child, I didn't enjoy water that much. And then as you get older, you're like, wait a second. Bland stuff doesn't suck.
Yes, water is nice. Water is nice. Definitely. Because in the case of if you do a lot of drinking, yeah, water is nice.
I don't really... Like, I know that it's really common for a lot of Australians to drink. But it wasn't, because in America, the drinking age was 21. So I couldn't drink. But in Canada, it was a little earlier, so it was just like, oh, nice. Only to find out I suck with drinking.
A lot of people suck with it at first, and then if you become an excessive drinker, well, your liver eventually decides to give up.
I actually have to... Yeah, that's true. I remember sitting down, although I remember sitting down with my uncle and being like, are my cousins good with drinking? And they're like, no, he's like, no, they suck. Your entire family sucks with drinking. And I'm like, ah. So it's a family thing. It's a family thing.
There's the case of my brother and myself. I inherited all of the heavyweight genes. He inherited, well, the complete lightweight ones.
I see now. Are you the type that drink a lot of vodka? Or has to in order to get drunk?
Me casually looks over at the bottle of vodka next to me. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Hey, hey. Oh, 40, thanks for the
Water's
bits,
your
by the
friend.
way. Anyway. Good lord. Yeah. Water is friend. Don't drink triple distilled water if you can help it, usually.
Ah! Huh. Interesting.
Anyhow, let's see. Second last question I think we've got here. Maybe third last. We'll see, we'll see. The simple one. Any particular goals for the future? So anything you really want to get done? Short term, long term, anything at all. The typical job interview question, which I honestly do hate, but I tend to ask this one anyway, because it's funny to see what people answer this one.
As much as like I want to say I have an idea of a goal, even one thing that you've especially learned through like COVID and especially throughout like your life is that you don't know what you're doing. Like sure you don't know what you're doing. Like I realized this very early on. I was like, I guess I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm getting stuff and there are things I never expected, but hey, I'll take the job. It's very much go with the flow, but I do have obviously goals for things like, making like more videos, obviously, because like making more videos, doing whatever I like enjoy as much as I can before my voice becomes old and I become old. But there is one goal that has been kind of like two goals that's been kind of in my head, but I'm not gonna take seriously unless it kind of pops up all of a sudden.
Oh yeah?
And
those
what?
being?
I want to work on a webtoon trailer, like an official webtoon trailer once in my life.
Oh.
Because all the webtoon trailers use a mix between puppeting and like puppeting/rigging and motion design, and it seems like a very interesting venture to enter.
Yeah, I can see that, I can see that.
And then the other one is I do want to work on a few more Japanese projects and maybe Korean projects. Yeah, both those types like always have like something interesting to like come out with. Cause I was gonna work on like motion design animations for like club events at some point before COVID started to be a thing. But yeah, these are just kind of like small things I considered. But overall, I've always just kind of went with the flow, and I got jobs somehow just because I do motion design. And yeah, it's just going with the flow, and you'd be surprised of how much you can get.
Fair enough, fair enough. In which case, let's see, next question's a rather simple one as well, really. It is simply, what kind of audience do you think you attract, per se?
Okay, so here's the funny thing. My audience on YouTube is very different from my audience on Twitch.
Could imagine, because on YouTube you mainly have covers up from memory, yeah.
And for a while, I had a lot of people who were interested in covers for Vocaloid or maybe anime, because there was a time in my life where I did an English cover of Only My Railgun.
Oh.
And I know that's very specific, but it has been haunting me for the past 3 years. I still can't get it out. And it becomes very confusing for people who find it now, because my voice does not sound like that anymore.
I see.
Because my vocal tone has changed, and also I speak a lot lower now.
Fair enough.
But that still haunts me to this day. This day, and people are like, yo, when's are you gonna do an index song? Are you gonna do a Fripside song? It still haunts me.
Fripside, oh my.
Yeah, because I used to have because if anything, my tone matches Fripside songs more nowadays, but I don't want to go into that. and but besides that audience, I did gain quite a big Japanese audience at some point, because I do choose a lot more of the Japanese popular songs. Yeah, so a lot of songs I do end up choosing are more popular in the Japanese end, and I do gain that audience since I do have a certain level of Japanese.
No, that...
Like, part of the reason why I can finish videos so quickly is because I can read Japanese.
Yep, that would certainly help out a lot. Definitely.
With, like, yeah. But I have worked in other languages, too. So, actually, do you want me to list them out right now?
Yeah, go for it, go for it.
Alright, so obviously there's Japanese and English. There's also Korean and Chinese. I have some weird ones out there where I also did Spanish, Swedish, French. German was actually quite a few as well.
German? Oh.
Oh yeah, there's a huge, like, Japanese, like, there's this huge German community that is really into anime songs. And for the entire year of, like, 2018, I just kept getting German commissions.
German commissions, alright.
Yeah, so there was those ones. So I received a lot of English, German, and Japanese. I have done Korean a couple of times, and Korean's an interesting language, and I always have to scream at a Korean friend to be like, did I get that right?
Oh no.
Is everything alright? I kind of want to see if I get Thai in the future. I'd be curious if I ever... I want to see if I get Thai in the future. That'd be interesting.
I'd imagine someday you'll eventually land one which is either Thai or Vietnamese or just somewhere Southeast Asia.
Yeah, I mean, I never get to learn them really, but I do get to learn how the wording format works. So yeah, and the thing with Viet is the fact that Viet is still in Romanized letters, just with tones that look angry.
Okay, you actually described it pretty damn well, yeah. I'm not a fan of written Vietnamese by any stretch, or spoken Vietnamese, but it's what I have to deal with on a daily basis, so hey.
I see.
Yeah.
I mean, because a lot of Viet is based off of, like, Cantonese and French, so sometimes I have to turn around being like, wait, what?
Yeah, okay, so one of the weirdest incidents I've run into with Vietnamese and French crossing over is in French, a simple kind of meat dish is a ragout. In Vietnamese, we have that as a loan word, literally as ragu. Yep. I did not learn that until maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and when I finally learned about that, I was like, shit, the French had more impact on us than I thought.
Yeah, they do. They really do. That's why do you think there's so many Viets in France?
And yeah, then tracing my own lineage back, yeah, I am an 8th French, which is... Nah, that doesn't really show that much. Nah. Good lord.
You sound like you just had a flashback there.
Perhaps. All I know is there's French blood mixed in, there's Chinese blood mixed in, and there's Vietnamese blood somewhere mixed in. Anyway.
So anyways, yeah, I see. So you're the mix.
Yep. God.
I listened to Viet and I'm like, huh, interesting. Wait, why are half your tones, like, stolen from Cantonese? Hello?
Yeah, that is actually one of the closer comparisons, yeah.
Yeah, because, like, a lot of the tones in Viet is very similar to, like, Cantonese. I think there's only, like, 2 of them that we don't have.
Fair enough.
But yeah, going back to, like, the audience, I do have a Japanese audience, and it was definitely easier to learn Japanese, considering Japanese is also based off of Cantonese. Cantonese be carrying me here.
The main part I remember about, like, learning Japanese was a friend was just like, yeah, Japanese uses all the traditional characters, have fun.
They don't use simplified.
Yeah, they don't.
So yeah. So simplified Mandarin just is just kind of like, oh boy. And then Cantonese is like, oh, what do you mean? It's all good.
I see. But works out fine in the end, I suppose.
I will say this, that the term ada is not the same as the Cantonese ayya. It is not.
No surprise on that one.
Right.
How much of a difference is there then?
There is some differences, but it's specifically the structure of the letters are like pronunciation. There's very similar pronunciations. It's just that two of them are switched. So, you know how Japanese doesn't have L's, but they have R's?
They have R's, yeah.
It's the opposite in Cantonese.
Oh, wait. Eh? Okay.
Yeah. Cantonese has L's, but we don't have R's. And then, and a lot of times, and a lot of the words, like the hiragana, when they have like, say, ka and ga, the only difference between the two of them is the fact that ga has the two like strokes on the side.
Yeah.
And actually, it's derived from the factor that the letters like ka, like the K and the G sounds are very similar and to Cantonese.
Oh.
Actually, because a lot of Cantonese like cities, the romanized forms may say like spell it as a K. For example, like Kowloon Tong and other things like that. But in Cantonese, it's actually supposed to be a G. So it's supposed to be Kowloon Tong.
Oh, okay.
So it's a lot of those structures. Yeah, so those structures did move over. And there's obviously some pronunciations, like the word in Japanese. There's the word kokoro, which is heart.
Yep.
But there's another way to pronounce it, which is shin, or like shin.
Yep.
And that is in Cantonese. It's actually close to the Cantonese, actually. Like we have a similar one, which is some. So we have like a very similar one. So yeah, there's a lot of things that do like kind of like transfer over, which is why there is like research done where Chinese and Cantonese people do take a lot less time compared to other people in studying Japanese. So yeah.
Definitely noticed that when I was doing those classes. Good lord.
Yeah, funny thing is I never did those classes.
Oh wait, so did you just self-teach Japanese?
Yeah, I self-taught myself. But I fucked myself over because what happened was all the people I was listening to spoke in a Kansai dialect.
Oh yeah.
I get called out by a bunch of Japanese because I speak in a Kansai dialect.
Kansai then? Christ.
Yes.
I see.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, I did self-teach myself, and I learned. So nowadays, I can go to a Japanese stream and understand like 30-40% of what they're saying. I make it sound like I've known like Japanese for that long. I've only known Japanese for about a year.
But
I learned quite a bit during the time when I was learning.
Now, if you self-taught it, that's rather impressive, but nonetheless. Over 1 month with the guy, though. Christ.
Yeah. Learning Japanese just because of a crush and then continuing on learning Japanese after. Do be the life, you know. Do be the life. But yeah, I do have a Japanese audience that does carry over. And some of them do follow me on Twitch, but it's not as much compared to it's not as much. And then and obviously a lot of my audience also comes from people like Kiara. Kiara is one of them because people find me through Kiara's video. There's also Girl DM. There's also Gigi or Kamaniki, who's an artist.
Alright.
So I get a lot of people from those ones.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so a lot of my audience use does come from that, but my audience is starting to separate from my mutuals because I do motion design on Twitch. And when you're doing something as weird as motion design on Twitch, it causes this huge, like, dissonance where it's like, oh, what is this? What is this program that is appearing on the thumbnail?
Yes, when you see After Effects, oh god.
I love After Effects as much as it gives people nightmares.
There is a lot of trauma from After Effects. Yes.
Yeah, I can tell. Like I look at my program in university, and everyone avoids it as much as possible.
That just reminds me of how much people were, let's see, in one of my programs when it was said, oh yeah, you're going to be learning Final Cut. Have fun. It's just like, oh god, please let us stay with it. Let us stay with easier stuff or whatnot, or just anytime we had to swap over to a new DAW even.
Final Cut isn't that hard.
It's not too bad. It's also industry standard as well. If you're ever making like a film, but yeah. It is one of those cases of when you do learn it, you then eventually have to pay the licensing for it if you want to keep using it.
I find it so weird that Final Cut is so common despite it being a Mac program.
Yeah. That's one of the annoying parts of it, because if you don't have a Mac, then you have misery later.
Yeah, because if I had to recommend anything, and I guess I can recommend to chat right now, there's a better program out there. It's called DaVinci Resolve.
Oh?
You can use it. It's probably the closest thing to like After Effects, but still using video editing stuff you see in Premiere and Final Cut. And it's just so much lighter in your computer. And there is a free version that works pretty well, honestly. So yes, please use DaVinci Resolve. They have a great color corrector that's also used in a bunch of Adobe products as well.
Oh yeah? Alright then.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's called Lumetri Color. It is the industry standard color corrector. And yes, I highly suggest it.
I'll keep that in mind sometime if I ever need to get around to making another video.
Yeah, it's fun to use.
It's been a while since I've picked up After Effects and made something, and my own motion design skills are mediocre at best.
I self-taught myself motion design for most of it.
Christ. Man.
Because I had After Effects, but my school was like, oh, what's After Effects? Sure, use it. Use it, I guess.
That's a bit important to know. Alright.
Yeah. And even when I was in university, a lot of people still didn't know how to use it. And by the time we finished our After Effects class, everyone tried to avoid it as much as possible.
Considering how much of a pain it is at times and how self-destructive the damn thing is unless you're on a workstation, yeah, I can imagine.
Oh yeah, I spent 3 months trying to get all the parts for my PC. Purely for After Effects.
Because at that point for After Effects, you're just looking at bumping up as much of your processing and RAM, and then making sure you have a bloody good graphics card to render it all. Oh,
yeah. My graphics card is something. It was so hard to get though.
I'd imagine.
Oh my goodness.
We're in the middle of a graphics card drought still, so yeah.
I got my graphics cards off of Computer Parts Reddit.
Nice.
Yeah. Surprisingly, it's very useful if you're looking for a graphics card and trying to avoid a scalper.
I will keep that in mind because I am still looking around for a graphics card to replace my currently dying one. Because yes, this thing has a tendency to, well, how does one say? Eat up more power than it needs to, then crash the entire PC.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
My condolences.
It's great.
My condolences.
Anyhow, last question for the night. Rather simple one. like the last two, anyhow. Recommended drink, any drink, and likewise with food.
Ah! Alright. Going down my list then.
Alright, by all means.
When it comes to like if we're going based on barista, like my barista kind of thing, I really I highly suggest, especially when you're getting into coffees, definitely trying out like a chai latte.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a very open drink. It's not too sweet or anything, and yeah, it's a really comfy kind of drink. Really nice to have in the morning. You're not dying of caffeine, of overdose of caffeine.
Ah, I see.
It's a good middle ground that is really good for like starters in coffee and just overall just anyone who doesn't want to die of caffeine overdose. Cause you see like a Vietnamese coffee and I'm like, oh no.
Oh no, you're murdering someone with one of those. That is very sweet usually.
It's not only sweet, but there's so much caffeine in that thing. It's just they give you a shot. It's a shot, guys.
Pretty much. How does one say for Vietnamese coffee? It's drip coffee that is purposely burnt, then mixed in with condensed milk. So you get quite a lot, is the thing. Because you're not adding extra milk or anything. It's mostly pure coffee. So it is very high concentration.
I remember having a Vietnamese coffee for the very first time, and I was just like paralyzed of just. I was just paralyzed for a good 2 minutes because I couldn't. I was like, oh my goodness, this is so much coffee.
It does give it a very specific flavor.
Yeah, I mean it's good. Just I don't want to get addicted to that stuff, so I try to avoid it as much as possible.
It's one of the most commonly brewed drinks in my household, unfortunately, so it's a bit difficult to avoid.
Oh no! So you just have a high alcohol tolerance and coffee tolerance at this point.
No. Quite the opposite. My caffeine tolerance is god awful.
I see now.
How does one put it? My alcohol tolerance is fine. I'll go up to about 8 standard drinks before I start dying, unless I fulfill any of the conditions to be drunk faster. When it comes to caffeine, though, if I drink 1 coffee or, say, the equivalent in an energy drink, maybe half a Red Bull to a Red Bull, I'm likely going to be stuck awake for the next 10 hours.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't drink coffee as often, despite being a barista, purely because I don't want to get addicted on coffee and rely on it too much.
Fair enough.
But definitely a chai latte is very nice. I highly suggest it if you just don't want to die of like caffeine overdose while having a good morning.
I will keep that in mind sometime.
And then obviously, as an Asian is, I love my bubble tea.
Oh yeah? Okay.
Yes, I love my bubble tea. Especially where I live, there's like 30 bubble tea stores in the area.
Oh,
Christ.
in
a So I like my bubble tea a lot. I usually get like a plain like either oolong or green tea with like either tapioca or owlet. Sometimes I go for the milk teas, but I don't always do because I'm slightly lactose intolerant, so I kind of die on the inside a little bit. But I really enjoy just having a regular milk tea. Taro is fine. I just think you can't have taro all the time or else you're gonna kill yourself a little bit. Oh, sugar this time. And then as for fruit teas, I really enjoy having like a passion fruit green tea or sometimes a lime green tea.
Lime? That's an odd one to think about.
Yeah, I don't particularly enjoy the sweet stuff. I actually am very bad with sweet things because most of them have too much sugar and I have a low sugar tolerance.
Makes sense.
Which is probably the best kind of like low tolerance to have, honestly.
Low sugar tolerance. Oh. Like, personally, I don't do too well with sweet stuff either, but I have a very high tolerance for salty stuff, which is kind of odd. So
I feel like yeah, that's true. I feel like there's either you like sweet or like sour or spicy. There's plenty of people who like the spices.
Spicy
which is something
is, yes. Do you like pain? If yes, then yes, you enjoy spicy stuff.
Like okay, so with spicy things is like I can tolerate it better than some people, but I'm not great.
Likewise,
one
yeah,
of my
yeah.
one of my Viet friends, she was like, okay, hey, so I have like banh mi in like in the fridge, but I'm not sure if the spicy seeds are there. But we're gonna test it out.
Oh no.
And the issue with specifically the Viet like spicy seeds is because there's no texture to it. It's just pain.
Definitely.
It's just pain. Because you get an automatic reaction.
Yeah.
And both of the banh mi were spicy. So
Oh god. Because yeah, the particular banh mi place that my lot go for, it's kind of like rolling gacha. You either get something which is like maybe very low on the Scoville meter, maybe like 5k or so. That's okay. Yeah, whatever. That's just a mild little sting. Or you get something that goes up to 250k Scoville and you die inside for the next half hour.
oh no. Yeah, that was me. And I remember like we were texting a friend and they're like, "You're dying over a sandwich," and we're like, "You don't understand. You don't understand."
Because yeah, that's what happens with that particular place. It's just you bite in, you wait about 2 seconds, then you realize, oh no, I rolled lowest on the gacha.
I mean, I like banh mi like in general. It's just that if I could, I would like to avoid having the seeds
fair.
when I can. And
Oh,
then
yes.
there's like obviously there's pho as well, which I'm like grab some lime.
Yeah, that works out well. Let's see, so particular favorite food?
Particular favorite food. This is hard because as much as I say I don't like sweet things, I do enjoy desserts. I do enjoy a lot of desserts. Like, so there's this thing called Korean macarons, which have a similar thing to the usual macaron, except they're hella thick.
Oh.
Like the cream is a lot thicker.
Ah.
It's like whatever macaron they're doing with their cream, it's weak. Like Korean macarons are huge, and they have like really interesting flavors. Like the one I go to also does like Ijamin, tiramisu, matcha latte, Vietnamese coffee. They have a Vietnamese coffee like flavor like of macaron. And it still gives me the same amount of just, oh my goodness! This is a shot! This is a caffeine shot!
This is a caffeine shot. Oh dear.
But I really like Korean macarons, and I also enjoy like, there's this kind of food known as bao bao, which is like in Cantonese. It's translated to pineapple bread because the top layer looks like the texture of a pineapple.
Oh yeah? Okay.
It's really good. It's really good, and it's a huge classic in Cantonese culture. Especially if you add like heated butter, like a slight bit of a heated butter below it.
Wow. Actually, yeah, that does actually sound pretty good.
Like the thing with, like, especially if you like a tiny bit of butter, like not too much, and you heat it up slightly, it's always really good. And I think the last thing, so during my university years, I did not trust my oven. So what I did was I made a bunch of crepes.
Crepes? Alright.
Yes, and one of my favorites is making a matcha crepe. So you can actually do this thing where you add like matcha powder into like a crepe mix, and it honestly tastes really good if you want something that's not too sweet. And you want a bit of a bitter taste to it.
Ah, yeah, I can see that working.
Yeah, I made a couple of crepe cakes. A lot of people really liked them when I was in university, because that means you can like make multiple on your own and share it out with my dorm.
Oh, that would have been quite
I would,
nice, yeah.
I would do them more, but kind of live alone now.
Ah.
Kind of live alone now. It's a little lonely. Actually, I do have like VTuber neighbors, so I could just scream with them.
Neighbors, oh god.
Yeah, I mean they're not as neighbors like. So I did meet up with my VTuber neighbors pretty recently, and to say the least, I'm probably gonna be crashing at their place at some point.
Fair enough, fair enough. Because yeah, I do have one VTuber in my very, very immediate local area, but apart from that, everyone else is kind of scattered throughout the city, so yeah.
Yeah,
Being all the way out in the bush is weird, usually.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the city, so it does help to be able to get places. But because the reason why I live in the city is because, like, obviously university, but also because I don't enjoy driving. I don't enjoy it. I have my driver's license. Do I enjoy it? No.
Oh, you're one step ahead of me then. I don't even drive.
Yeah, I have a driver's license, but I don't use it because I don't like driving. I get motion sickness very easily.
Oh, that's same as the thing.
Yeah, that's the thing, because it's cars specifically, because they have this thing where if you press the brakes too hard, you have that slight inertia, and you just start dying on the inside. And you're just like, no more. No more. So I don't enjoy road trips.
Oh boy, neither do I really. If it's a trip, I'd much prefer to be on something larger, like either a train or a bus, or yeah, a flight in comparison. If it's going by car, that's likely me dying for the next few hours or however long it's going to be.
Same here, same here. But I think it's also just because it's specifically my dad that does that, so I'm like, ah! I cry a little bit on the inside every time.
Die inside when it comes to long distance travel by car. Yeah, I know that feeling all too well.
But yeah, I just prefer walking. I like walking, guys.
Walking's good, walking's good.
I walk a little too much. Like every time my VTuber friends are with me, they have their walking shoes on, definitely.
Yeah, so I remember one incident where I met up with a VTuber and we just kept walking and they were just like, how long are we going to keep walking for? I'm like, eh? This is fine, isn't it? This is fine.
Yeah, I had a similar thing.
Oh, God.
Yeah, but you have to keep the balance, because you don't want to be in your seat all day.
Yeah.
So, you just gotta walk shit ton.
As it works out anyhow.
Actually, in terms of working out, what I also like doing is I like to do planks while singing.
Eh? Eh?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. My workout consists of belting songs while singing. Like, while doing planks.
Excuse me, what? Okay, I did not expect that one. Not by any stretch. No. Good lord. Belting while plank.
While doing planks. Yeah, because all the workouts I do besides walking are all things to improve my like breath support for singing.
Oh god, you must have one ridiculous core then at that point. Christ.
Oh yeah, I almost had a six-pack at some point.
Christ, alright. I'm beat. I'm entirely beat at this point. Yep. Christ alive. Yeah,
you gotta like that's how I work out, guys. And that's a really good way if you really want to like really improve your core and breath support.
Good job, Raina. You've managed to break the interviewer twice. First over compost, second over planking or belting. What the just... Sorry, what?
Well, this is another one.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Oh my... Yep. Oh god. Yeah,
New tag, eco break.
God. It has happened a bit too often at this point. Just last one being a fax machine, now it's compost and belting.
Yay! I have made it. I have made a new record in the eco history books, I guess.
Christ alive! Why? Like, oh god, like that. The former physician in me is just being like, God, that is high impact as hell.
You first start out with a verse. You plank a verse, then you do TV size, then you go for up to the bridge, and then you do the entire song. Then you start doing Mafu songs.
There's a process to it. Oh my, there's progressive overload to it as well. Oh my god. Why is there progressive overload already loaded into... Oh my... I'm dead. I'm dead again. Christ. What have you done, Raina? Just... Oh my...
How was the process?
The only reason I have a decent lung capacity is because I used to be a swimmer, and that's about it.
Fair enough.
Not planking while belting. Jesus Christ. How do you...
I mean...
Like... Okay, I do have to ask, what gave you the idea to do so?
Okay. So originally, I was trying to figure out how to like work out a little bit because it was COVID, and I was like, well, I've done planks before. Those are, I mean, they're a little torturous, but they're easy enough. And there's also wall sits I remember doing.
Oh god.
Both of them help with my core. And I want to improve my singing capacity.
Oh lord.
So I put the two together, and now I can sing a good chunk of Mafu Mafu songs while planking. And if you know the level I'm talking about, I may have just killed Eco here, just mentioning this entire process.
The imagery of it is somewhat horrifying, but at the same time ridiculously like that's just amazing. But Christ. Yeah, but as a result, I realized it also increased how loud I got over time. Oh god, yeah, if you're belting, oh my god.
Yeah, exactly, because like every time, like I can't do voice tweets anymore, or because every time I do a voice tweet, basically what happens is that the entire sound wave just peaks.
Oh.
It's at the loudest. It doesn't even look like a sound wave anymore. It looks like a box, a bunch of lines.
Oh, it's a barcode then at that point. Got it.
Yeah, it's a barcode. Like I can't do like voice tweets anymore because of how loud I gotten. I've always been loud just because I can't sneeze, but I've just gotten louder after doing planks while belting.
Oh god, yeah, increasing your own amplitude. God.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember sometimes people would be like, hey, can you just like I'm curious. This is actually true. And I'm like, yes. And they're like, prove it. So I actually do it. And they're like, and then, yeah, they're just like, how can I still hear you from the other room?
Oh God.
Yeah. I've had moments too where friends were outside and then they just hear screams of just screams from me. Because loud and high frequency voice just doesn't work.
Oh Christ. Just, man, the imagery and the process of it, the fact that you have a process to this.
I mean, that's how you have to do things whenever you're learning a new skill.
I know, but nonetheless, good fucking lord. It's a bit too sound and fury, which is why I'm just like, oh God, Christ. Man, all I'll say is someday you'll probably make a very good live performer if you ever have to dance and sing at the same time, but oh boy.
Oh, I have done live performances. Yeah, I've done live performances. Actually, before I did like UTI and motion design stuff, I was in choir and did a lot of live performances. And musical theater.
Oh Christ, yeah, that explains a thing or two then.
Yeah.
Yeah, because musical theater's rough. I think I only ever did one piece of musical theater and I struggled like hell going through that.
I mean, it becomes a lot easier once you're very familiar with the song, because you pick up when you're supposed to breathe and everything, and all that. Because I never did swimming. In fact, I sucked at swimming. But I did a lot of musical theater and a lot of other activities. I know we were at the last question, but I did a lot of activities.
No, it's fine.
As a child.
Goes past last questions, just whatever goes, essentially.
Yeah, but yeah, I did a lot of activities. I did musical theater, ballet, ice skating, piano, choir. All when I was in my primary school years. Because that's what Asian parents do to you. They just throw you into everything, and for some reason, I just never said no.
Yeah, definitely for me, the one thing I was apprehensive about was musical theater, so I ended up in like typical theater instead. So more stage plays rather than musicals.
I've done theater for like, so in America they have a thing known as dual credit, where you can earn like college courses. You can do college courses during your high school year without having to pay for like college credits.
Yeah, we had something roughly similar. I took cooking for it myself, but yeah.
I did visual communications, acting, and also improv.
Improv, okay. Very nice, very nice.
Yeah. Yeah, so I like talking probably because of improv. Actually, no, that's a lie. I also went to a school that did what we call Spark presentations.
Those being?
Which is basically, have you ever seen TED Talks where they have images in the background, but they're automated, so they like change slides every like minute or so?
Yeah.
Imagine having that as being your entire school year, like your high school life.
Oh damn. Okay. Yeah, I see.
So,
yeah.
So I'm very used to talking. Very, very used to talking at this point. And it's a lot of fun. But admittedly, it does take up a lot of energy, even for an introvert. Not introvert, extrovert. Even for an extrovert, it's a bit hard.
Because yeah, I just remember acting days as we were kind of a shit performance troupe, essentially, so one would have to learn how to improvise whenever the scripts went awry, essentially. And usually I was the bastard who had to upstage things and just be like, oh, yes, blah, 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 extra line here. Now let's get back to business.
I've done that before, but the thing is, I was also in college theater.
Oh.
So.
Oh. Yeah.
And one thing about college theater is there is no filter. And another thing is that I used to be that pure child who never cursed. So The very first time I cursed was in theater.
Oh. Oh, wow. Man, okay,
Yeah.
that's one place for a first time.
Yeah, that's the very first time. I know it's very different in Australia. You guys like curses like
We're
sailors.
born cursing, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you're born cursing, but in where I was, it was. There are definitely people out there who still don't curse.
Fair enough, fair enough.
But yeah, in college like acting, they always have like the topics. They always have like the romance topics or the serious. This couple isn't doing so well. Oh, they're about to get into a divorce. Let's see how you act that out.
Oh.
And it was very awkward as a high school kid with some of these like college students.
Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine. God.
Yeah, but that's how I got
out a divorce though. Oh my god.
I never had to do that, thankfully. I never had to do that, thankfully. But there were points where they almost did make me. And that was like, oh no. Oh no. Get me out of here. I enjoyed acting when I was doing it, but... And that's probably why I have so many voice redeems on my streams.
Fair enough, fair enough. For myself, I can only functionally do the one voice of just myself, so normally don't bother with voice redeems. Just more a case of, yeah, one voice goes.
Hey, at least it's a good one.
Okay. Yeah, this voice does not have too much differences apart from when I was on radio. When I was a radio anchor, it was slightly different, but mainly just in terms of intonation for things, because I had to keep it Aussie.
That's true. Oh boy. I don't know how people can keep up with intonations, because I don't even have an American accent myself. I'm just like, I really messed myself over with that.
American accents they're interesting, I'll say. Like, the one time, so my university has a lot of American exchange students for whatever reason, and all of them, whenever they speak up, they stand out like a sore thumb usually, in terms of the accent.
Yeah.
Like, you can
and then
tell almost immediately.
We don't have like,
yeah.
and we don't have the Aussie sayings, like a lot of Aussie words either, so. And there were some words I did have to switch to when moving over to Canada. Because I wasn't from the East Coast, I was from West Coast America.
Oh yeah? Okay.
So there is a difference. And another thing is that Canada still has a lot of things similar to like British English.
Oh man.
One of the more common ones is the fact that we do use Z. We don't use whatever is Z, which I prefer Z anyways, since you can tell it's Z.
Well, Aussies we use Z as well, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, because America's the weird one. America's the weird one. And to add to that, I can't keep track with any, like, accents. It's so hard. And I hear some of the accents they use on YouTube, and I'm like, oh no, please, no more, no more, no more.
English is a wild language when it comes to accents at times. You get Scottish, Irish, everything from the bloody British Isles, and then you get Australian and American. Canadian you can throw in as well. South African you can throw in. South African's actually really funny.
Oh, really?
How does one put it? South African is... The way I normally label it is polite Australian.
Polite Australian.
Yeah. How does one put it? If you see Fuse in Apex Legends, he does not feel Aussie, he feels South African.
Fair enough, fair enough. Actually, I've been wondering, since you were like a radio host, like, was it more casual as a radio host over there in Australia? Considering it is a very casual kind of English.
Let's see, considering the station that I had to work for, I actually had to be pretty formal, was the thing.
Ah, got it, got it.
Because, yeah, it was a public FM station, so, yeah. I was not allowed to curse, had to use very upstanding English, avoid using as much slang as possible, essentially.
Huh. So
Then,
essentially, you were just...
had to be very polite, very professional, essentially.
I see, I see.
Because the main interviewees there were, let's see, rather than what I'm doing now, which is just like VTubers or anyone in content creation, on radio it was mainly scientists and educators for the most part. So yeah, when you're with that kind of crowd, you gotta turn things down.
Yeah, I have noticed, especially when you're speaking with a lot of like educators and a lot of like especially scientists or any of those, they're so ridiculously formal. I'm in the entertainment industry, and thankfully it's not as formal, because most of them are very chill. In fact, they usually prefer if you speak in the casual way you would speak in media. And especially since most of the media I do like post about is about internet culture. It's very casual, I can tell you, to say the least.
Fair enough.
Does not work, and it's very... And I had to get used to that, actually. Because I had the exact opposite of getting used to... Where some people are more used to having to go from casual to formal. I was the opposite. I went from formal to casual.
Because, yeah.
And I think the only reason for that was because my dad was like a professor, so I was always around like all of the other professors, and you had to be really and you had to be kind of like semi-formal with them. Specifically, American professors. American professors are still a little bit formal, so you still have to get used to that. So it was very jarring to go to Canada and realizing, wait a second, all of these professors are really chill. And yeah, you just eventually have to get used to everything in the industry. You're just like, I have to be chill in this one, super formal in this one.
Yeah, pretty much. Because when it came to interviewing music producers instead, that stuff was just, drop all formal tones, go real casual about it.
Oh yeah, oh my goodness. I love music producers, but oh my goodness, I have such a hard time trying to be casual. They're like, relax your shoulders, and I'm like, I can't.
Because yeah, one of the music producers I knew at some point was just a case of, yeah, you ask about, so typically speaking, for scientists, you would ask about their theories and hypotheses, whatever, their papers, essentially, and you'd probably have to do a bit of research on it the week before, look through, flip through, so that you have a somewhat decent understanding of what's going on, or at least enough of an understanding that if you were to ask something, at the very least, you wouldn't sound stupid. For a music producer, normally, instead, they wouldn't necessarily talk about any of the technical aspects of their music or anything. Normally, you'd actually be going on feel. Or feel, genre, inspirations, that kind of stuff, because in comparison to the long-form stuff I do these days, the interviews on radio lasted 5 to 10 minutes, flat, and then you had to move on to the next song. Or potentially the next interview, depending on the week, anyhow.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I've talked to music producers before, and I've talked to them about feel. but I like talking about the technical too, because I also used to work in the technical a little bit, because my program isn't just motion design, it is media production. So I learned a lot about audio, and sometimes people do ask me about my audio knowledge, and I'm like grabbing it all up when I can.
Because yeah, knowing a thing or two about mixing does go a long way.
I had to figure that out for streams because I have such a high-pitched voice and a loud
Yeah.
one at that.
Being able to EQ and just cut a bit of it would be, yeah.
Yeah, usually on streams I have it like EQ'd and then I have a compressor as well. I remember when I didn't have a compressor at the start. I'm sorry to those people.
Oh no. Oh no.
Thankfully, Discord has its kind of own compressor out there.
Discord does have an inbuilt one. A lot of voice over IP services have their own plugins built in to ensure a decently pleasant service.
So you get away with it, but especially if I was streaming, I always have like a list of like plugins and filters that I have on OBS.
Because in my case, I think I keep at least a noise gate, limiter, compressor, EQ, then reverb whenever I need it.
Oh yeah, reverb's nice, especially for karaoke. Which I do, but because of how Twitch works, I have to either pitch the song up, or I have to like heavily find a different arrangement. I remember when I was doing... Do you know Never Enough from The Greatest Showman?
Oh no.
I did a karaoke where I did it 2 keys higher.
Oh. Yikes.
I mean, it was fun in its own way. I have the breath support for that. It's just... I was like, oh boy. I can feel myself just slowly losing it.
I could imagine, yeah. Like, oh man. Because, for karaoke on Twitch, I normally find anything which doesn't have or which has a, let's say, remade instrumental already, essentially. That way you can normally avoid, Normally that way you can just avoid straight up copyright infringement, to an extent, anyway.
Weirdly enough, like, if I play, like, Groove Coaster on Twitch, none of the songs get muted.
Oh, interesting. 'Cause,
I think it's because they think it's another arrangement due to the beats.
Yeah, because anything that you throw on anything that's held by a major record company, the moment you throw it on Twitch, it gets silenced almost immediately after. Like
I mean, especially with American songs, I do the pitching technique, which either kills me or does well.
Depends on the song, I suppose. Because, straight up, if you do anything by King Records or Lantis, those will immediately just get stripped of the audio in post. Then that's true. Yeah.
Surprisingly, if you do a song that's not as popular, like a B-side from like Love Vibe or something, those actually don't get like that stripped. Surprisingly. Like, I did it once and it didn't get stripped for some reason.
Let's see.
It's very interesting.
I think I once had a friend who did something a cappella and that got stripped because they sounded too close to the original.
I think it's another thing. I don't sound that close to the original music because most Japanese music have like very bright and clear voices, but I still have a classical side to my singing, so it's still, I guess it gets by a lot of shit.
I suppose it would, yeah.
So, yeah, you can get away with a lot. I did realize, like, going on the topic of, like, sound, though, I did notice that you don't have the huge, like, your streams doesn't sound like, you know, the microphones that seem too over-bassed?
Yeah.
Specifically the SM7B?
SM7B, yes. Typical streamer microphone. Yeah, let's see. For a bass,
I don't use it.
I should probably check what my EQ is, actually. Oh, I actually have a slight... I actually do have a slight bass bump, surprisingly.
Interesting.
The main thing is I don't exploit proximity that often, so yeah. That's likely...
Fair enough.
that's likely why you don't get the ridiculous bass sound. And yeah, I do have a significant bump to higher notes as well.
Fair enough, fair enough.
On top of that, my mixer itself already provides a high pass filter, so that normally helps with a lot of things as well.
Fair enough, fair enough.
So
because I'm like,
yeah, it's cutting the bass to restore it.
Yeah, because yours definitely sounds. It does feel a little bit more natural if you were in like a live, like in a real life setting.
I try to keep the processing to a minimum as to not end up with some excessive sounds. Like if I were to turn off some processing, then I'd end up with probably way too raw at that point and would sound a bit grimy almost. But with the amount of processing that I do put on, it's enough that you won't get any of the harsher artifacting, say troublesome frequencies or S's or yeah.
Makes sense, makes sense.
So it's just cleaning up what's there rather than trying to overdo what's there.
Mine is I just get rid of like slight background, lower the higher frequencies a little bit. There's a bit of a raise in the brightness. Like my EQ settings look like it looks like a roller coaster of like blueprint. My EQ settings.
Mine looks more like a valley. So.
But yeah, it really helps, and you tend to not want to add too much, and especially when you're doing recordings, you have to do them entirely raw.
Definitely.
I actually use my recording microphone for, like, say, interviews or pretty much streaming as well.
Fair. Like myself, let's see. The microphone that I use is just mainly all-purpose. It's just the AT2020. Large diaphragm condenser mic. It's serviceable enough for anything you need, realistically speaking.
Yeah, I use a Rode N2NA.
Hey, okay. Solid choice, choice.
Yeah, because the issue with the any of the Audio-Technica mics, it doesn't like high frequency voices.
No, they really don't. It's the thing.
They don't. And blue, like any blue mic is too muddy.
Yeah.
So Rode is my best friend, and Rode is your best friend, especially if you're in the media industry, and especially if you're doing like camera work. Because I also did multi-camera. I did multi-camera. Okay. I did multi-camera for a bit, and I know a lot of people who also do single camera.
Because I've seen some wild microphone setups out there before. God.
I mean, I recently posted my setup because I just finished moving my desk and everything.
Oh, right. Standing desk, was it?
Yeah, it was a standing desk. And I also have curtains. But if you're anywhere between the heights of 180 to 190 centimeters, you're probably gonna get smacked by my setup.
Oh, I see.
It's not as high, but then it's not as tall as people expect it to be. The reason why it looks tall is because I'm very short.
Oh my. Let's see, but the wildest microphone setup I've seen is someone managed to get 22 different microphones onto a drum kit.
Why?
It was multiple microphones for each component, so the kick drum would have 3 microphones on it.
Why? That sounds like that sounds like a rigger who decided to add 3 parameters on 1 strand of hair. I'm totally not calling myself out here.
But yeah, it was the, let's see, 1 in front, 1 inside the hole, 1 inside of the kick drum. So 3 microphones there. The snares had 2 to 4 each. The toms had top and bottom for 3 different toms, so that's 6 microphones there. Each of the cymbals and crashes all had microphones top and bottom as well. Then you had a pair of overheads. On top of that, you then had room microphones, so microphones that were set in parts of the room specifically to record the sound of the drum from that perspective. And all in all, that totaled to around 22 microphones, and we were just like, do we even have an interface that's meant to support this properly?
Yeah, exactly. I don't even think that most interfaces only go up to like 20, right?
It's
like
not
at least 16, the bigger ones.
16 channels are standard, I think, yeah. 16 is usually standard. 32 is when you're getting into like heavy budget. Like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
High-end stuff.
Like, because my interface, despite being so small, only has 2, and that's like the usual, like, consumer-friendly type.
2 and 2 out is very nice for consumer, yeah.
Yeah, and I love my interface, because it's small enough I can carry around because of how often I move. But,
yeah.
I don't want to... And also the question is, what kind of microphones are they carrying to the point they have 22 of them?
Thing is, it was a very large variety of microphones. Yep. There was everything from AKGs to Shores to like, I don't even know at that point, but yeah. I think there was even a ribbon microphone or 2 shoved in there just for the room microphones. That was one insane setup. Ribbon microphones, they're wild to work with though.
Yeah, they're so hard to take care of as well. And I'm pretty sure the amount of microphones this guy had is as much, it probably costs like 2 times more than the amount I paid on After Effects scripts. Definitely more, actually. I actually don't spend that much on After Effects scripts.
Oh, God.
As, like, but yeah, that is terrifying. Actually, I have a thing I found, like, a thing that came up. So one of my friends, he's an alumni in my university, and he does, like, camera work. And I remember he posted something on Instagram where he has his camera, but on the top of it was a cardioid microphone.
Okay.
Specifically the Aston, from the company Aston. What was it called again? I forgot what it was called. Aston Spirit microphone.
Okay.
Which, if people don't know, is like a $500-600 cardioid microphone.
Oh,
and I'm just like, why is that on a camera? And why are you outside with that camera?
Oh boy.
Like, I was so offended. that microphone costs 2 times more than my Rode NT1A, and I see them using it on like outdoors.
Normally if you're outdoors, you're normally either going to take a dynamic mic or a shotgun mic.
Yeah, exactly, especially shotgun.
Shotguns are, I don't know, my experience working with shotgun mics is just really weird. It's just...
Oh, how so?
I don't know, they're just so ridiculously directional that... Okay, so the weirdest setup I've ever seen for shotgun mics is... It was a stage performance one time, and they decided the best way to record the audio on stage was to litter the entire front of the stage with 12 shotgun mics equally spaced. All facing towards the stage.
My media production head just shut down that moment.
It wasn't a case of grabbing like lapel mics for each of the actors. It wasn't a case of having like a couple of mics spaced around the stage. No. Shotgun mics at the front of the stage. 12 of them.
That's not how you're supposed to do it. Okay, for those in the chat that don't know, what you're supposed to do with the shotgun mic is you're supposed to have it actually above, like it's actually above the actors. So they're actually supposed to be all above.
Yeah.
Like, so that way that you pick up like everything without having to need that many shotgun mics.
Yep.
There's a literal job in the industry of people holding shotgun mics high up in the air for people. Like whenever you're like filming on set.
Yeah. Most people think of it as like the boom arm operator or whatever, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the guys holding that big fluffy sock. That's your shotgun mic.
You know, they call it a dead. They call it a They call it a dead rabbit as well. No, it was a dead cat if I remember correctly. Yeah, it's dead cat.
It's dead cat. Dead cat. Yeah, that's the specific expression for it. Yeah.
Yeah, they call it dead cat, and it's very awkward trying to go online to buy a dead cat.
Wait. For those, you should just be typing windsock, not dead cat. Oh no. Wait. No. Don't look up dead cat and try and buy a dead. No. You're meant to be looking for a windsock. Oh god.
Well, you can put windsock, but the issue is sometimes Google is stupid and assume that you want the cardioid the pop filter that you put on top of the microphone.
Ah, yeah.
So it gets very annoying trying to put that in.
Dead cat.
So
my god.
So I just specifically put microphone dead cat.
Yeah. Why did I just imagine a taxidermist cat, but with like a mic sticking out of it? God. That's a horrifying thought.
That is such a horrifying thought.
It's like where's your microphone? Looks over at the cat on the table.
Oh no. I just imagine like someone trying to pull up their boom arm. Like the boom arm for the shotgun mic, and they just have a cat on top of it, crying for dear life.
Oh god. Yes. Entertainment industry is an interesting place. God.
Yeah, they call it weird things. They call it weird things out there.
Yep. Oh, wait, have you ever had to work with lighting before?
Yes, I have.
Oh god, my condolences.
Oh my goodness, I don't want to talk. Oh my goodness. So I remember I was in my course and they were so nowadays a lot of the industry stuff, they do use the more LED lights.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But a lot of people still use the standard lights that you use in the industry. And the issue with those is they get really hot.
Park cans, yeah. Fun.
Yeah, and I remember my teacher was trying to show us, so he put on his gloves. He grabs so we have these filters that are really expensive that you put in front of a light, so that way the light kind of softens out, and it's really good for modeling shoots.
Oh, yeah, diffusers, yeah.
Yeah, the diffusers, they're really expensive, but I remember he pulls up the diffuser, he accidentally touches it to the light, the diffuser slightly burns, and then you see a dust burn up, start flaming, and he's like, ah.
Yeah.
So he just
yeah.
This is my first classic camera, by the way.
Oh god. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he was very chill and handled the fire pretty easily. But coming from someone first time in that course, out indoors, by the way, seeing all of that, I'm just what the?
Because yes,
I am terrified.
When things get torched. Oh god. Yes, halogen lights are. Is it halogen? Oh no.
Yeah, it's halogen.
Yeah, it's halogen. It is halogen. Yeah, halogen lights. Yeah, don't mess with them. They can be the cheaper variety, and sometimes people just like using them to light up a stage. But at the same time, buddy, please, you're roasting everyone who's on the stage.
Yeah, exactly. It gets really hot. It gets so hot in there.
You are cooking people on that stage if you use a lot of them. It's the most popular light, I think, is the Parkan, because yeah, you can color those very easily. You can just shove a lot of them. They're very cheap, but they are going to roast whoever's on stage. Especially if you overload it on the lighting aspect of things.
That's why I use an LED. That's why they use LEDs more often nowadays.
Yeah, LEDs are a lot nicer. It's just if you ever get a gig with performers from the 80s or 90s, they are gonna say, "Oh, we want this many Parkans or whatnot," and they're used to all of, yeah.
Yeah, when I did musical theater, which was quite some time ago, because I was a child, It was really hot. It was always super hot because they were still using halogens back then.
Ooh.
LEDs are quite recent, if anything.
Yeah, they're more of
Like-
a recent invention. Because they're pretty complex. You can program them to serve all kinds of crazy functions, even.
And you can probably save a lot with because you don't have to get as many diffusers, at least color diffusers. Cause yeah, diffusers are really expensive. Oh my goodness.
Any kind of go-between optic is on the pricier side of things because it needs to withstand the heat usually.
This is why I prefer multi-camera more than single camera, because the issue with single camera is you always need to look for a location. You need to pre-plan it. You possibly need to pay for it, and then you have to actually make it, set it up. You need like an hour to set it up, and you actually finally get there. You start doing it's such a long process, and it's why I either do multi-camera or post-production, because it's less pain.
Yes.
Motion design is part of post-production, guys. And I love it.
Post-production
I prefer post-production.
is, I don't know, I'm more of the kind of live fella of just get it done as well as you can live and try to be light on post-production if possible.
Fair enough. I mean, I guess motion design is in the between live and post-production.
Yeah, because it's something you've got to consider nonetheless.
Yeah, it's not something you edit with. I mean, you can edit with After Effects. I have done that before. Because it's used for special effects. But I do enjoy like multi-camera a lot more, as much as it's more stressful. Because what people don't realize about like multi-camera so multi-camera is for like live shows, and essentially there's always gonna be a bunch of directors, and they're like, oh, move this camera from here to here.
Yes,
and
camera operation. Oh man.
Oh, camera operation is actually the easy part. If you are the board, either the director, co-director, or board director, you're having a time.
Oh yeah, you're shouting commands like crazy. As long as
Like
you're listening to your cue, then you should be fine. But if you're the one giving the cues, oh no.
Exactly. And if you can, like, a lot of people can actually search this up. Like, you can search up like previews of people in the boardroom doing like board commands, and it sounds like an adventure in its own.
Yeah, same goes if you're like someone doing lighting as well. Just like if you have to operate specific lights. The follow spot operator is a dead job these days simply because automated photo spot or automated spotlights do exist now. You no longer have to shout out. You no longer have to shout light 6, light 7, go bow, or
Yeah, thank goodness you don't have to do that anymore. But I think the only downside if you're the camera operator though is if you have to move the camera.
Oh, I see.
And I have already stated this before, I am a very short and small person, and as much as those cameras are relatively easy to move because they have wheels, oh my goodness.
If they're on wheels or rails, then yeah, normally it's not as bad, but yeah.
You still need a certain amount of force, and you need to make sure you don't press too much force.
Yeah. Especially if they want a pan rather than a reposition. Yes. Panning is oh god.
Oh, but I will say this. I do get a like visual, like I get visual happiness when I use a camera used in multi-camera operations. And it's only one reason.
Oh yeah?
It's because the zoom feature on every multi-camera is like butter.
Oh, okay.
It is like butter. Oh my goodness. I used that zoom for the first time and I cried. I cried on the inside. Because the issue with like using single camera / video cameras is when you use the zoom function on those, it's like it's very sudden. Like when you do
Yeah,
the
yeah.
zoom, it's very sudden and you lose a lot of the quality.
Hmm.
Multi-camera just has it down where the zoom, it feels like you're doing that preset transition of zooming in where
Oh.
it's so smooth. It is so smooth.
Yeah, yeah. In
And
comparison, yeah, standard video camera is
mm,
very mechanical, very choppy. Mhm.
yeah, it's very choppy. Meanwhile, the one for like yeah, and the thing is you can even adjust like how sudden the zoom happens on a multi-camera. So when I zoomed in, I was crying. I was straight up crying. Like the person next to me was like, "You good?" And I'm like, "It's beautiful."
It's beautiful. I see, I see.
It's beautiful. So that's the one thing I enjoyed about. So yeah, I did enjoy multi-camera and just live shows or post-production more than the actual pre-production. Pre-production is hands down my least favorite.
On the contrary, for myself, I actually enjoy pre-production a lot.
Is it because of the organization factor?
The thing is, I'm one of the most disorganized people. It's one of the few places that I am organized.
Oh.
If it's planning a show and planning out where things need to be, then yeah, I know where to get things done, essentially.
I'm the exact opposite, because I'm an organized person in general, and then the one time I'm not is literally with my own work.
Because, yeah.
I mentioned this earlier, but when I do motion design, I do it on the fly.
Because, yeah, if I'm doing work for just myself or just kind of personal projects, then I usually don't have too much planning, but if it's a commissioned work or whatnot, I do a lot of planning in advance, just to make sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Live shows, though, is more or less a case of pre-production is probably my preferred part compared to post-production. Good lord. Post I'm pretty terrible with in comparison. Pre-production is just like, yeah, get all the people together, get all the things in place. Alright, everything's set, the show can run smoothly.
I don't enjoy that part because especially like because that means I have to grab people, and if someone's missing, I'm like, ah.
Because yeah, at some specific live gigs, it's just like, okay, where's the sound team? Where's the sound team? Excuse me, where's the sound guy? Oh god, shit.
That's why I don't like pre-production, because everything can go wrong sometimes.
Because yeah, I've heard some horror stories in the industry before of just like, let's see, there was one, so the fellow which taught me lighting was a very professional guy. Like, how does one put it? He was very meticulous about every last detail. To the point of, the moment he came into the room, he saw the rig done up by the previous class, and I was like, oh, this is hell. Okay, guys, we're taking this down and we're redoing it. Like, he was... Okay, this guy... So, there were two teachers I had in my time in, like, the kind of audio production kind of course, and one of them was... Let's see, one of them was a really, really chill, laid-back boomer, maybe like 70, almost getting on 80 years old. And he wasn't really a teacher, so to speak, and more of a spiritual guide.
Spiritual guide!
Is the easiest way to explain this guy. Because he gave a lot of life advice, he didn't give too much mixing advice. And he was in charge of our DAW classes and actual production classes, so you had to self-teach a lot of stuff there.
Oh boy.
Which is fine, because I had good enough foundation in music theory anyway to get by with some very nice results. The opposite was this lighting teacher, which was extremely technical, very much running at least 3 conversations at once.
Oh boy.
And always on edge. Which is kind of amazing, because he knew his shit. I'm not sure he knew how to teach his shit specifically, but hell, he knew his shit really well. Because whenever we did a lighting rig, he would watch it like a hawk and be like, okay, no, bad practice, do it this way. Even if other people in the industry do it that way, nope, do it this way. Because don't hammer an egg in, please, don't hammer the eggs in. Just turn the egg so that it actually goes in its proper hole, then put it in. That way you don't break the pins attached to it.
I see. I mean, I had a similar. I didn't have a lighting professor like that, but my professor, if you had one rule where, okay, you know what gaffer tape is, right?
Yep.
So, so essentially, every time you do set up lights, this is the thing I hated about lights, was specifically having to gaffer tape it down.
Oh, yeah.
The gaffer tape the cables down.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand it's important, but it is so tedious. And it's such a mess to handle. And the worst part is, if you forget to do that, what my teacher does is he just straight up unplug it.
Oh. Yikes.
So if you're in the middle of production, he'll just unplug.
Okay, the worst example of gaff tape that I've seen is, let's see, there was like a whole cocoon of gaff tape around like a plug, and it was like, how are you supposed to get the power through? Huh, you've managed to successfully wrap this on all sides, and it's not turning on, and this is the only part in the signal flow where it's possible that this would have disconnected. What have you done?
Why would you put that much gaffer tape on? You just put it over the cable.
Yeah. Normally you wouldn't put it near any of the plugs or anything, because if you ever need to diagnose things, then you can straight diagnose it, but... Oh, it was covered entirely. And there
Also, another thing to add.
Yeah?
Gaffer tape is pretty expensive.
Yep. Because, yeah, the thing was, there I was, on a ladder, hungover, staring at this thing. And just being like, struggling with words and just being like, how, what, okay, there's a lot of gaff tape on this thing, what am I supposed to do?
There's so many gaffer tape horror stories.
Yeah.
And honestly, just please just use it on where it's needed.
Yeah. The other part about it is, please make sure that it's color-coded properly.
Oh my goodness!
If you're attaching black cables to a black rig, please use black tape. That way they don't see the tape. That way it doesn't look as shoddy.
Fair enough. Yeah,
you
definitely, especially on stages, because on live stages, most of the stages are also black, so...
Yeah.
Specifically the 4.
Because, yeah, the main thing is, sure, any live performance, they're not going to really care about it, but if it's recorded, the moment a director sees it, they are going to have an aneurysm.
Yeah, the director is going to, like, they're so done with you at that point.
They are going to find the intern who put the light up and just go like, nope, you're out of here. Go.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, especially in your industry, if you do something that bad, you're just like, boop, goodbye.
Because, yeah, a lot of lighting stuff is just common sense, and then, yeah, I think among the dodgier things I've seen is when a safety chain is just put in the wrong place.
Oh no.
It's like, oh yeah, safety chain. Yeah, don't put that above a cable. Because if that light falls, there's a chance you're about to cut that cable at the same time. What happens if you cut the cable?
No.
You cause a lot more problems.
Oh no! Yeah, I would like to avoid that as much as possible. If anything, being a motion designer is very lonely, but at least I don't have to handle other people's problems.
Oh god, but yeah, the part of pre-production which is just overlooking all of the, overlooking the final parts of the stage and just being like, okay, light set, alright, microphone's in good position, everything's lined up, last sound check, blah blah blah. Then just going, alright, everything's in place. Here's something crash. Fuck.
Oh no!
Goes over and inspects what crashed. Oh god.
Oh no! Oh my my goodness. I fear those, which is why I can't take it. I can't take it. I just can't do pre-production because of that.
Pre-production, at that point, it just becomes, okay, how much damage control can we do?
Oh no! Is your budget okay? That's another thing to ask.
Is your budget okay? Shit. Because, yeah, the main thing is, if it comes to the point of damage control, you then have to realize, yeah, show's gotta go on at some point.
Oh no.
Alright, open doors. let the people through.
Yeah, honestly, I think one thing you also need to make sure you prepare is just band-aids.
Band-aids, oh god, yeah.
Because you'd be surprised how many times people get slightly injured when they're on live shows.
Oh yeah, like burns, cuts, they're very common, and you have to write them into a risk assessment when you first do things as well. It's like, I think one of the wildest things I had to write on a risk assessment was like paper cut.
Paper cut?
Yes.
Wait, even that?
Yep.
Huh.
You had to mention paper cuts.
Yeah,
That
I
was
never
a possibility.
I never had to put that in. I mean, I remember when I was still in musical theater, I tripped over like one of the sets. When the curtains were closed for like a couple seconds, and I had to literally just dodge out before the curtains rose up. And and I remember I was just bleeding, and I'm like, huh.
Yikes.
That was my bad. That was my bad.
Because yeah, paper cuts was probably the least of people's concerns after you see all of the other troublesome things that were on that risk assessment. Things like, oh, loud volume, so you have to work under a certain safe volume if possible. There were burns from lights, whatever. Trip hazards, so whatever cables that were being run. Electrocution hazards, because of course there are. And all kinds of other troublesome lifting related stuff, and just if certain parts of the stage, collapsed on people. And then down the bottom of the list you see paper cut. And it's just like
live shows are essentially 100 ways to die.
Yeah. Live shows are dangerous, kids. Live shows are very dangerous.
Yeah, why do you think we're VTubers? Because we don't want to die.
There's a reason why I stopped doing more live-related stuff and headed over to being in a radio booth instead. And then from being in a radio booth over to being in my home studio at this point, more or less.
Fair enough, fair enough. I mean, I do miss that life, but at the same time, I want to live, guys. I want to live.
Yeah, it's a short-lived life.
Yeah, it's a very short-lived life, so that's why I prefer being part of the post-production side. Because at least with post-production, you have less chances of dying. And if you die, that's on you.
The other part I like about being like part of pre-production instead is you get to sit down and enjoy the show.
True!
You finish up all the setup and everything, you sit down and enjoy the show, and then afterwards you do some pack-up, and that's about it. In the middle of the show, it's down to the directors and the operators to handle most stuff. Where you're just there for any kind of troubleshooting if it arises.
I don't know, but I don't know. As much as I enjoy sitting for the show, I also enjoy going through the stress of doing the show.
I've long decided to not be in the limelight too often these days.
Same here. I mean, same here. You see, I'm a motion designer. Do you really expect me to be in the limelight?
Because sitting in the back is comfy. That's
it is.
Yeah, there's not as much risk of lights falling on you or anything going wrong or God.
I mean, the only thing to worry about is if your computer crashes.
Yes, the most of your worries. The computer crashes. You see the blue screen.
Yeah.
You die inside.
Yeah, exactly. Especially on stream. I have to put it on. So I don't know if people know this about Twitch, but there's a thing where Twitch will not end your stream for like 2.5 minutes of being inactive.
Oh yeah, I'm well aware of that particular function. Yeah. I'm unfortunately
Yeah, I
aware of
especially
it.
need it.
Yep.
I especially need it because After Effects do be hard to stream sometimes.
Yeah, because with the burden After Effects is putting on, if you're streaming at the same time, oh god.
Thank goodness I use an iPhone because oh my goodness, would face rig just ruin everything.
Yeah, some face tracking software is just wild in terms of its usage.
Yeah.
I'd
Oh
say
my
if there's
goodness.
one thing I'd like to try one day, it's probably trying to run a 3D show at some point. Or 3D tracked show.
True. I consider the logistics of that, because technically there's only one person I can think of out there who does that.
Really?
Which would be Waifu Baby.
Oh yeah? Okay.
Yeah, because she is a 3D, like, VTuber, and she sometimes has shows and collaborations with other people, like, on her shows. And it's really interesting. But it definitely feels more like a live show if you're doing 3D stuff compared to like the 2D live 2D, like the live 2D scene.
Because yeah, if you can get full body tracking and everything, it's a very different experience in comparison. And
I do plan to. I've been trying to see if I can do live 2D a 3D way in the future.
Yeah, because the VTube Studio API has had certain people working on that kind of stuff before. Yeah.
Yeah, and I recently started working on re-rigging my model again to do specifically not really 90-degree angles, but 60-degree angles left to right for the entire body.
Oh wow. Okay. Very fancy then.
Yeah, I want to try that out a little more than the head turns, because head turns it's like the artist community with how they feel about anatomy.
Let's see.
It's never right.
For my particular artist and rigger, the guy took into account a lot of the head turning kind of stuff. So if I do turn my head, you actually do see side braids and whatnot that have already been already been
I have
drawn
a
and
similar
rigged on.
thing. I had a similar thing with mine, except the issue is that I can't really do anything further than a 60-degree angle because I technically don't have a backside. I don't have like a back hair. Like the back of my hair is just the back of my hair. I mean, it worked out pretty well. It's just move around. It's just like the butterfly hair clip is carrying me here.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it's very interesting to see where the VTubing scene's going, because it seems to be getting closer and closer to the live scene.
Definitely, because there are certain aspects where if you are someone who does know how to deal with live stuff, then yeah, you have a distinct advantage in comparison. Because I swear there's some people whose streams I tune in on and I'm like, please fix your audio. Please fix your audio. Oh god.
Yeah, it's a growing process for sure.
Because yeah, VTubing, the whole project is just like expensive as hell.
Yeah, that's true.
It, yeah.
Okay, here's just saying from the both of us, if you're trying to earn money, VTubing is not the revenue for that. That is a gamble. That is a gamble. Like, I wasn't I'm pretty sure both of us weren't sure how VTubing would do.
I pretty much took it up as just an extra hobby, pretty much. More a case of oh, I'm no longer hosting radio, so I may as well use somewhere to keep my knowledge going.
Yeah, true. Yeah, because neither of us are really doing work, mainly doing streaming. We're both doing commissions of some sort. Me just sweating at my commissions.
Me looking at my commissions and just being, yes, there's writing to be done, but the writing can wait a bit.
I'm just like, I see motion design videos. Am I gonna do another 12 this month?
Oh, Christ.
Yeah, this year has definitely been the year I've done the most videos with, and this computer is really being used to its best.
Fair. At some point,
Like,
you'll probably eventually upgrade to like a full-on workstation, but hey.
I mean, it's a pretty good like rig at the moment. It's a gaming rig technically. Cause that's the only thing that can support this monster of an After Effects beast.
Because yeah, when you get to the point of workstation, you're then looking at getting like hundreds of gigs of RAM just to keep things running smoothly. Then linking together multiple graphics cards.
Oh my goodness. Thinking of having to get extra graphics cards is gonna be the bane of my existence.
Normally at that point, you're no longer looking at consumer grade stuff. You're starting to look beyond consumer grade.
Ah! My poor wallet. My poor wallet.
Yes, if there is one thing about anyone in a creative field, we are perpetually poor.
Yes, and people, it's not because we don't get clients. No, we definitely get clients.
Oh no, it's because the equipment's bloody expensive.
Yes, exactly. Actually, I don't even use the newest version of After Effects.
Oh my.
I use After Effects 2020 version 17.1. Very specific, but it's the oldest version that has what was most important, the most important update.
Fair enough. For myself, if
all
it
the
comes
newer
to like,
updates are.
Yeah, if it comes to like video editing and whatnot, the most I use is actually Vegas 14. I don't go beyond that.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Interesting choice.
Hey, it works. It doesn't crash as often as it would. But hey, that's fine. That's fine.
I had a recent thing where, because I was on vacation, I had to use a laptop.
Oh.
For After Effects. And that thing, I don't know how it survived, considering it was still using an i5, like an Intel i5 core.
Oh my.
With a 1050 graphics card. But it somehow survived.
Huh. Because yeah,
and I actually made something.
Yeah, because the last time I tried booting up After Effects on a laptop, that thing just started melting.
I mean, the fan was going crazy.
Yeah.
The fan was going crazy. Like, I have a Noctua fan in my current one, so it's not dying as much. But I probably need to add like another like 6 fans.
Oh god. At that point, you start considering, is adding another fan efficient, or is starting liquid cooling more efficient?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, my GPU never goes above, like, currently my GPU rarely goes above 50 degrees Celsius.
Oh, wow. Wait, that's very nice then.
Yeah.
I know mine heats up a decent bit because I have overclocked this damn thing, but yeah.
I actually haven't overclocked my rig at all.
If it runs fine at stock, then if it runs fine at stock, no need to worry about overclocking. Because normally most graphics cards come stock overclocked by a certain extent. Because manufacturer clocks tend to be very underspeed, just to ensure stability.
I will still treasure this build for now because it was very hard to get.
Yes, in the current world's conditions, yeah, getting a graphics card is either asking someone for their kidney, essentially, or finding some other route out there.
Yeah, I got very lucky to get even a 3070, which, because oh my goodness, trying to even get like a 10 something is just like, you can only get the 10 series nowadays. You can't even get like the 1000 series. You can't even get like the 3000 series or even 2000. So hard.
Like,
but
if I were to just plan a straight upgrade, it'd be a 3060 most likely. Because
True, true.
that's as far as my rig can handle anyway. This scrap box has been alive for too many years at this point. Too many. I actually
I
might
don't
be
even
getting
know.
close to like 10 years, but hey, this thing still functions well
Damn.
enough.
I think the only thing I might have to do at this point is add another graphics card. Don't even think about replacing, just add it.
Just add another Crossfire it or SLI it. Yeah. That'll do.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe get a better CPU since I do use I can get a better CPU, but at that point if I want a good worthwhile a thing, it would just be a Threadripper.
No, the dumbest thing that I hadn't done until recently was install an SSD.
Oh my goodness! Eco!
Yes, this thing was running off of a hard drive for the longest time. It's a miracle the hard drive didn't die on me, but hey, it's fine. It's fine.
Oh my goodness. So I have an M.2, I have an SSD, and then I have a 4TB hard drive.
Oh god, that is a lot. That's a heck of a
Yeah.
lot, yeah.
So I essentially have 2 terabytes of just like solid state drive, specifically M.2 and solid state.
Oh,
And
jeez.
then I have, my 4TB hard drive for all the past projects I've worked on.
Oh my god. Because yeah, I only just installed an SSD maybe like 2-3 weeks ago. It is...
2-3 weeks ago!
Yes. Actually, I think it's only been 2 weeks. Yeah, it's only been 2 weeks since I've got an SSD. The difference is ridiculous, yes.
My soul.
I did not realize the difference until I actually got one.
My poor soul just hearing this.
No, like, I was like, my PC takes like 4 or 5 minutes to boot up. That's fine, whatever. I'll just sit here on my phone, check Twitter, and then be back at it.
My poor soul hearing this. You're the same person who apparently knows how to use a CPU and a GPU, and somehow you didn't even realize you need an SSD.
Oh yes, then installing an SSD. Oh, the boot time's 30 seconds. I looked away and it's already back. Oh. Huh. What about that? Huh. Opens up programs and everything. Oh my god, everything's snapping so responsibly. Or so responsively. Oh my god.
Oh my
Where's
goodness.
this been my whole life? Yes.
Is this just like an SSD, or did you get like an M.2?
No, this was just a SATA. So
That's still way better than a hard drive though.
yeah, it is. It is. I considered an M.2 probably not quite worth it for my setup, because if I was to go that far with it, then I'd probably just buy a new setup entirely.
That's
at
fair,
that point.
fair. I definitely got an M.2 for mine.
Because yeah, when I consulted with a friend, he was like, you'll notice the difference if you've used an SSD before. If you haven't used an SSD before, you probably will not notice the difference going that far.
Yeah, that's true.
For budgetary reasons, it's like, it's like 30-40 bucks off the top anyway, so.
Also, someone just asked me if I debuted. I debuted like a month ago.
a month ago? Oh.
Like my VTube model at least. Like, people think I've streamed for a while. I actually haven't been streaming that long. And especially VTube model-wise, I only debuted like last month.
Because, yeah, I've been streaming on and off since, like, very late December. It's now August, but I didn't actually start using a model until, like, May, I think it was. Around then. Yeah. So there was quite a few months without one.
I think I streamed starting around April of this year. And then I got, because I was already planning out my model and I was rigging it. But I didn't get to debut it for a while because I just had nothing prepared. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to debut my model now.
Because
So, yeah.
as a debut, I just did it as a joke. I was just like, oh yeah, Here's a bunch of slides. This is all false information, by the way. Moves on to the next set of slides. Ah, here's the real information. There you go. And then after that was just like an 8-hour stream.
Oh my goodness. My debut was me just showing off my model and then just pure chaos at my character sheet.
Like, well, like I'm curious what the communication for that character sheet was. Did you mention those other two parts, or did they just go ahead?
Yes. Yes, I did mention those two parts. I actually had to send references for those two parts.
I see. So that's completely on you. Oh my god. That is entirely on you.
Okay. Here's the conversation I had with my VTube mama. So a lot of VTubers have boobs, right? And then she's like, yes, and I'm like, forget that. I don't like boobs. Boobs are annoying. We're having thighs today.
Oh my god. Okay. Alright, that makes sense.
Yeah, because I didn't want a VTuber model with boobs, because honestly, every time I look at boobs, I remember back pain and I want to forget it.
That's some interesting logic to take to it.
Yeah, but then the thing with thighs is that there's no pain to them.
Yeah, I can say that.
So yeah, I have full responsibility on the factor of my character sheet to an extent. There were some things I was not expecting. For example, the pure anatomy accuracy in the anatomy in some parts. I'm pretty sure you know exactly which part it is, Iko. But considering you had to stare at that thing.
Yes. My god. I think the particular interesting design consideration I had with my particular model was just, yeah, for the original designers, I was like, oh, yeah, so I'd rather a more androgynous model, so don't worry about, like, large chests or anything. Yeah, just keep it flat, blah, blah, blah. And leave it up to artist interpretation, however they want to draw the character. So, specifically, I don't particularly care what gender people throw this character under. Like, the funny thing is, with the original design, if you try and cut the hair short, you realize, oh, wait, that just looks like a guy. Huh. Then if you let the hair out, oh, that's a chick. And it's just like, So when it came to actually getting a model rigged, etc., I was like, yeah, hey Kaiman, yeah, draw it as you'd like, blah blah blah. Don't worry about like physics in chest area, blah blah. And yeah, short hair version, please, at some point.
Yeah, my model is literally just me, like, at least hair-wise and butterfly clip-wise. It was literally just me, specifically in July of 2020.
Good lord, okay.
Yeah, because that's when I used to still have bangs, and I had, like, pink under highlights in my hair.
Oh, fancy.
Where did you lose me?
Under highlights, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I got under highlights, so that was nice. So I do plan to definitely get them again. I didn't go that far into my model. Admittedly, though, I have noticed a lot of people who draw my model really like to enhance the boobs. There's actually one cover that I did where I had an artist who worked on my model. Not my model, but like art for a cover.
Oh yeah?
And my goodness, that's a lot of boobs.
Oh my. Ah,
I. Oh my goodness. But
Uh.
yeah, like now that I think of it, do you ever plan to get a 2.0 at all?
Alternative outfits, sure. 2.0, probably not necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, I'll likely stick with the same artist and rigger because I know the guy's reliable as hell. Simply because, yes, if you can do both your art and your rig at the same time, then you can make very specific considerations when it comes to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah,
one less channel to go through, anyhow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm my own rigger, so
Oh, that's fair.
so I get away with I get away with a lot, and I am excited to do more like live 2D. So one of my future projects, I do plan to do a music video using an entirely live 2D live 2D art. Ah, I see the short hair.
Gives off a very different impression, yeah?
But yeah, I like for my video, I'm gonna have it where so mouse tracking is actually quite easy in live 2D. And you can use if you have the audio waveform for it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I want to try that out for the first time for a future video, which is actually going to be a rap song.
Oh god. Okay.
I haven't done a rap song in a very long time now, but that is on the list.
A rap song with live 2D. Oh boy.
That's gonna be fun.
It does sound fun, but at the same time, it's like, oh god.
And rap song with like rap typography.
Oh jeez.
What can I say? I enjoy I enjoy the grinds.
Yeah, you enjoy the grind.
I enjoy the grind, guys.
Enjoy the grind. Christ.
Yeah, so if there's one thing to really mention is that, yeah, I really like the grind. A little too much.
I suppose so, considering how many projects you get through within a month anyhow.
I mean, I definitely don't do 32 now, but... I definitely don't do 32 now. But, on average, I do about... I do about 7 to 10 videos a month. With a lucky chance it's gonna probably be 14.
Oh god. 10 to... Oh god, that's still like one every 2 to 3 days, functionally. Thereabouts, yeah.
I try to avoid that though. I try to avoid that though. I really do.
In which case, wait,
yeah.
How long is your portfolio then?
So right now, as of coming from the beginning of January to now, there have been a current total of 115 videos I've finished in the past 6 months. 6, 7, 8 months.
Oi. That's a heck of a lot of projects I've worked on.
Yeah, so every time people mention one particular project to me, I legitimately do not remember. Like, I'm gonna be honest here, I straight up do not remember some of the videos I worked on in the past. Specifically, if there's a video you mentioned to me from before the 14-day period, in the past 14 days, if there's a video that is not part of the past 14 days, I am straight up not gonna remember.
Past 14 days, good lord. Okay. Considering that'd be like maybe 5 videos, maybe?
I tried, it's not really
like
it's either 5 videos or it's either 5 videos or one really complex like video that I do. And even then I don't remember it. Like, not gonna lie, when you brought up Hololive, I was like, oh yeah, that was a thing, huh?
That was a thing, huh? I see. Because yeah, there are
The
some
grind is
people out there which are just crazy prolific in the kind of work they do, and it seems you are one of them for sure. Good lord.
What can I say? There isn't very many revenues left. If this doesn't go too well.
I'll say is everyone's gonna need motion design at some point, realistically speaking.
Exactly.
Like regardless of what
Exactly.
field you're in, motion design always looks nice. Like,
Exactly. And
like, yeah.
you don't need that many staff members. You can get away with a lot, guys. So yes, I have commissions open.
Yep. We'll note down.
Actually, I may have to close them for like maybe 2 weeks because I've been getting commissions when I can.
At that point, you can just open a wait list if that's open. If not, then
That's
yeah.
That's the issue. Every time I open up a wait list, the wait list ends up going for like 2 months.
Oof.
So
Yikes.
I don't do that anymore. I don't do that anymore because I don't want to cause my wait list to be 2 months of just wait list.
2 months wait. Oh my god. Yeah, that is...
I did that once. Never again.
Yeah, that is quite on the insane side of things.
Never again. This is how you know that motion design is a high demand job, but there's a low supply right now. It's always been a low supply.
Me, looking at my writing wait list, I have maybe 1 project on there. It's a long project, but... It's a long project and a solid paying project, but... Still waiting.
Hey, just saying, at least you had to go to the extent of a wait list. I don't want to consider waitlist anymore. It's just kind of like I can't. I just can't.
Fair enough. After all, yeah. After all, it's like looking at a mountain of work and just being like, yes, where do I start?
Exactly. I don't want to do that. I want to have less stress as possible.
Yeah, that's
But
fair.
yeah. But yeah, I have commissions. I have a cover coming up next week. Oh, yeah. Because I'm almost done with it. So, sparkles.
Sparkles, I see.
It's such a nice feeling once you finally finish a project.
Oh, yeah, of course. Because, yeah, then when you finally get it out, it's like, yay! I can rest for but a moment.
Yeah. Yes, I can rest! Oh, hey, I have another project to do. Let's move on.
Yep. Such is the life of freelancing. Good lord.
And just a motion designer in general. You're just like, I'm done. Oh, next one!
Be a writer. Write like you're running out of time. God. Fucking damn it.
Oh boy. Speaking of time, I think.
Yeah,
Do you think
yeah.
it's a good time to end it?
It's about time to cut things off, yeah. After all, I'm pretty sure it is fairly late on your end of things at this point. God.
It's all good.
Go sleep before the sun rises.
Fair enough. I mean, the sunrise doesn't rise till like 5 a.m.
Oi. That is still cutting it a bit close.
But yeah, it was a good talk.
It was a fun time, yeah. Alright. Anyhow, I'll toss this to an end screen, find us on to raid. Thanks for being an interview guest.
No problem.
Alright, and transitioned. Oh yeah, the art was from someone I did interview, actually. Yep.